Are you ready?
Clear, clear, clear.
It's time for a live stream.
You are privileged AF.
It's important to remember that.
It's okay to cry.
And it's also common to experience
deep belly laughs.
Hi, I'm Kia.
Why does this sound cold every second?
If you like jokes about scams, spirituality, and toxic positivity,
It's so quantum.
This is actually legit.
it's time to tune into.
The mango frequency.
Wait, what?
So let's dive right in.
Got my celery juice right here.
I am not emotionally stable.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for being here. I'm sorry that I wasn't here. I didn't show up. I guess that's what they mean. Like, did she show up? No. She did not show up. Okay. Something that's going to throw me off this entire episode is, for some reason, when I did, if you have a Mac, maybe you can relate. Am I the only one who has a Mac who knows what the Apple Store is? So when I did an update on my computer, because, you know, it does that every so often when I click ignore 25 times, for a year, it eventually just does it, it'll just update. And it switched my screens for no reason at all. It just swapped it. So now all of the monitor stuff that I usually watch over here is here, and the watching the screen is reversed. So I'm going to be like, huh? Where am I? Who am I? What am I doing? Thank you, everybody. I had a shoot this morning. And by a shoot, I mean a video shoot where I was hired to perform. Okay, there you go. So that had to happen this morning, and it went very well. Thank you for asking. Thank you, guys. So much for asking. It went well. So here we are on a Saturday, working hard. Boss babes, unite, okay? We are all boss babes. Even on Saturdays, we don't sleep. We wake up early.
Colts.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you for showing up for us. MB, thank you so much. MB says, yay, finally caught a live stream. Hello from Australia. Oh my gosh. Hello. I just watched that series on Netflix, Almost Australian, with the woman from James and the Giant Peach. You might be familiar. She was also one of the professors in Harry Potter. So she hosts the show. So I learned all about Australia, and I want to visit.
There's a first for everything.
Thank you, Heidi. I just need some money. I need more money. Send me more Australian coins so I can afford the flight. And the first class, because that's a long flight, and I require a bed.
No.
It's like, shut up. Shut up. Okay, you may tell me to shut up, but just remember,
I've been an alpha female.
I've been an alpha female, so I don't know. Thanks, MB. Welcome. Thanks for joining. Very cool. All right, so first things first, we're going to trigger warning off the top. Today's topic is going to be a little hard. However, I will say we're going to do a little recap just at the top to talk about how we got here, like a quick run through of who the players are, what we're discussing, and there will be, child abuse discussions involved. So if that's not your thing, I'm sure you know by the title and the description and all of the thumbnail stuff, you kind of know what you're getting in for. But in case you didn't know, there will be discussions of that. But I want to focus on today mostly the life coaching aspect. I have hopefully all of the life coaching videos in which Ruby and Jodi, who are the people we're going to be discussing, we'll talk about who they are. But if you're already familiar, Ruby and Jodi's life coaching, parenting, I don't know, I don't even know what it is. It's not a podcast. It's like indoctrination station. It was taken down from YouTube, but it's still on Facebook. So we have access, at least we did this morning, to all of those videos. So I think it's important to watch them in retrospect, because it's not often that we get to. Usually it's deleted, all of the footage.
Colts.
Thanks, Lur. Welcome. Once some scandal occurs, which is what happened in this case, stuff gets deleted and you can't go back and watch things, like a lot of Rachel Hollis, for example, deleted some of her old, more toxic stuff. That was at the time revered as amazing, but looking back after something happens, like what happened with her with Toiletgate, no, it's like you don't get the opportunity to like go back all the time. So because we have this moment to go back and watch it, I want to look at what their advice for parents is, what they believe good life advice is, because I think it'll help us, me, this group, and people, you know, that may be interested in life coaching still, what to look out for. Like someone tells you this, but then secretly or behind closed doors, they're, you know, abusing their children, allegedly. And I say alleged because they have not been convicted in a court of law. Not that I don't think that they both are guilty of what they're being accused of. So anyways, okay, so let me move this over. And can you hear my dishwasher, by the way? Let me know if you hear it right now, because it is on in the background. If it's too loud, we will take it off. Okay, let's look up YouTube to see if any members have comments. For some reason, with this system, you have to pull up the live stream to read comments from members for some reason. So thank you to Lur for joining. Welcome, welcome. Okay, here we go. So let me know in the chat how familiar you are with this whole saga. But let's watch a news video, and we'll talk about, you know, who these people are quickly. But basically, it's a vlogger, mommy vlogger, so already red flag, number one. And number two is that for years, people have done exposés on this, that's, you know, these vloggers. And by vloggers, I'm talking about the parents, not the kids. The kids are, you know, born into it, most of them, and are probably against a lot of this crap, I would imagine, or aren't mature enough to make a determination like that. So let's watch 8 passengers. Okay. And I have links to stuff, so it's not going to be me searching the whole time. But basically, it's like this little YouTube channel. She's got 6 kids, and it's 8 passengers because obviously there's 8 people in the house. She's claimed to make over millions of dollars, or at least $1 million from her YouTube vlogs. 8 passengers. It's now deleted, the vlog. And here's just Google Images. Hold on. Now, let's see if this works. Okay, yeah, it did. Okay, sorry. I know I'm like reversed, so... there you go. So this is Ruby Franke behind me. She is the mommy vlogger in question here. Now, she was arrested with child abuse charges. Now, she was the one, I guess, her and her husband, Kevin, started a YouTube channel back in, I believe, 2015, where they documented everything, you know, like, oh, my kid's heartbreak, my kid's first tooth loss, us going to the Mormon church, us doing whatever. I'm obviously not a mommy vlogging fan. I'm not a family vlogging fan. I think the entire genre is exploitative to children. I think the fact that she had the channel had like 2 million subs at the you know, at the peak of it, that here she is crazy. Like, who's watching this other than weird people? And I'm sure people do enjoy vlogs in some capacity. I'm just not a vlog watcher, but like a family vlog, I guess it's other families, I guess, at best, and predators at worst. But why would you take that risk? Once again, I always say that just blanketly. But here apparently is like, this is alleged, but apparently this is like leaked footage from jail. And they are currently, I believe, being detained with no bail, no bail, which is, I don't know about Utah, but it's fairly rare in these cases. You know, usually there's some bond, even if it's a high amount, like $1 million or something. It's shocking that, you know, there's no bond. But this is the podcast group cult coaching indoctrination thing we're going to focus on today. So this is Jodi. She was also arrested because the child that was seeking help by escaping like through a window, I believe, was coming out of her house, because that's where they record these idiotic, bizarre videos, which is the set down here, which is like their finished basement, it seems. So that's the storyline, that the 12-year-old child escaped her house, even though it's her child, and had signs of child abuse. So let's watch. Oh, here we go. Okay. This is fairly short, and it's just gonna. Okay, I'm gonna turn it off. But here's a video called "What You Need to Know." This is from ABC4 Utah. Okay, so famous vloggers Ruby Franke and Jodi Hildebrandt. Now, technically, Jodi Hildebrandt is not a famous blogger. Let me move out of the way. Sorry, let me move myself. She's not a famous vlogger. She is just a therapist. Actually, I shouldn't say life coaching. What she was providing was life coaching through this thing called Connections, but she is actually a registered qualified therapist, which concerns me greatly, because it's like, you went through ethics training, you went through college, she's affiliated with the Mormon Church. You'd think at some level there'd be some sort of ethical thoughts put in place, but that's not what happened here. It goes completely off the rails, and is like she's giving advice about anything that she ordains, not to be what she would do. You're living in not delusion. You're living in something. There's like a word, and we'll discuss it. Like there's like you're living in disorder. No, not disorder. It starts with a D. I don't know. Basically, it's like you're either living in truth or you're living in a falsehood, and you need to like stop doing that immediately. And even with your children, who are innocent, tiny little babies, they are also living in delusion or whatever. It's like, okay, all right, we'll see. So they were arrested on August 30th. Both women have been charged with 6 counts of aggravated child abuse. So very serious charges, obviously. Police were called to the Hildebrandt, so Jodi's house in southern Utah, which is like a fairly big compound, so she's got some money as well, after one of Franke's children climbed out of a window and ran to a neighbor's home. Okay, the neighbor also called 911. There's a 911 call we can listen to at some point. But it's kind of long, but basically the neighbor says, this child came running to the door, and he answered the door, and he's hungry. The child says he's hungry, he's thirsty, he's got, marks on him, he's malnourished, he looks like skinny, and he's got duct tape on his extremities. So I don't know if it's his arms or his legs. And apparently the neighbor was asking, like, why do you have duct tape on you? And the boy wouldn't tell why. He was not saying why. So, which is sad. Welcome, Mitch. Thank you. Mitch or Meech. Distortion. Thank you. Distortion. Living in distortion. Thank you, Mitch. And happy 11 months. Almost that 1-year mark. Oh my gosh. You guys.
You're not freaking fine.
If you've been a member for a year, you're not freaking fine. Oh, yeah, you can obviously see this. Okay. Well, whatever. You can see your own comment behind my giant head. There you go. What a moment in society. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Distortion. So you're either living in truth or you're living in distortion. That is like as black and white thinking as you possibly can get, I think. Okay, so the neighbor, so seeing the child was left starving with tape bindings, the neighbor quickly contacted local law enforcement, okay? Said that. And then once law enforcement arrived on the scene, they noted the child was severely malnourished with multiple lacerations. Upon searching the home, police found another child, which turned out to be Ruby's child, also her daughter, younger daughter, and they were both taken to the hospital for treatment. So, that could mean, I don't know. When people say, oh, they were taken to the hospital, it means it's like super bad. It could. I mean, usually the police will err on the side of caution. Like, if you get into a fender bender, they'll ask, like, do you want the ambulance to come? You can say no, obviously, or you can say yes. So I wouldn't, some people were speculating like that means it was like really, really bad. I don't know. I don't think they were, I don't know how bad it was, but were they near death or something? If this is like telling in some way, I don't know. But but just something to keep in mind that is kind of like standard protocol, especially for kids, that they're going to probably take them to the hospital if there's any signs of physical abuse. Okay, and then both women are still in custody, as far as I know, still, and each of the women await time in court to determine their sentence. Well, okay, they got to determine their sentence, but that's kind of a weird way to say it. They need to plead guilty or not guilty, and I'm assuming they're going to go not guilty and then fight it in court and go and have a case. And then they got to go to custody court because who's taking care of these kids? That's a question that I have as well. I think a lot of people have, like, where's the dad? You know, I think they were, so it seems, broken up at the time. But it doesn't seem like he should necessarily be off the hook, perhaps. So he's kind of a mystery in this whole situation. But yeah, that's the gist. That's the basics. So basically, you know, Ruby has this very successful vlog of her family. She's got 6 kids. One of them is an adult already, at least. One of them is an adult. And she has sort of did what I did in a way and like left the family and is speaking out against them. When the arrest happened, she posted to Facebook or Instagram and said, you know, finally this is happening. Her name's Sherry. And she's like, this has been going on for years. She's been kind of like seemingly deconstructing from the family vlogging, super religious lifestyle since she's been on her own and kind of living on her own life. So she is out of the house and not on her mom's side here. And if we have time, which I think we should, I want to listen to her podcast an episode that she did about her leaving the house before they were arrested. And she speaks out about, you know, her experience leaving and kind of the intricacies of that. So that's the breakdown. That's the basics. Oh, round 1 of custody court already happened. 2 are adults. Wounds in need of attention. Yeah. Okay. Wounds were in need of immediate attention. Yeah. Yeah, that sounds right. So, duct tape was on arms and legs. Okay, this is all new stuff I didn't see. So very, very bad. Obviously, horrible accusations. That's all awful. But I, again, want to stick to, I don't want to go into the detail. There's so many videos where so many like people have taken the time to do the deep research. This is not obviously that video. I want to again focus on the life coaching aspect. So that was just a basic breakdown. Thank you for all the clarifications. I do appreciate it because I'm not up to date on all of the comings and goings. But here it is. Here's what I want to focus on. Connections. Okay. This is formerly known as, let's see. Okay, wait, I switch, stand by. I get this Google over here, and then I gotta put this on top. Okay, there we go. Now we're working. I gotta get my Google Doc, but I don't want that to show up on the screen. Like I said, we're living in reverse. Okay, so, yeah, there's a probable cause affidavit. That's how they got them arrested. Okay, I'm just looking through my notes. Oh, here's one. Here's something crazy that I saw on the Reddit.
Oh, okay. Cults.
Also, there's a welcome, Fiona. Welcome. There's a very active Reddit that I've been a part of for a long time, but I wasn't very active in it, but I knew that there was like a lot of weird stuff going on with her. But this apparently was a video that was a foreshadowing type video. Kids take me to jail, 8 passengers, way back when. Just an old re-uploaded video from 4 years ago. Like, very bizarre. What are mommy vloggers doing? Like, what? This is how you want to live your life? This is what you think is deserving of millions of dollars, YouTube? Like, what the hell? I don't get it. I really don't understand. Let me see that comment. 7 months. Woo! Welcome, Fiona. Welcome. Thank you for spending 7 months here. How do you feel? If you were to, hold on, I'm trying to think of a setup. What do you think you've gained from being here for 7 months?
Deep belly laughs.
Yeah. Also, what else have you not lost?
I still have dyslexia.
There you go. And that's what Fiona said. Okay, so let's go to, this is the life coaching brand Connections. It was once called Mothers of Truth. Is that correct? I had that in my notes. Let me see. Moms of Truth. Okay, now it's been rebranded to Connections with an X because that's cool. They have a podcast. They have free mental fitness training. Oh, so great. Become a member of Empowering Joy. So they don't, and as you can see up here, Connections Classroom, this is in the URL.com/create joy. So Rachel Hollis chose joy, and Ruby and Jodi create joy. So there you go, everyone. Every toxic course out there that talks about joy, just delete it. Delete from your mind. That will not provide you joy. A course of any kind other than how to bake cookies is not going to provide you joy. I'm sorry to say. Then you can join a men's or women's team, whatever that means, TEAM. And then of course, you can't do it now because she's in jail awaiting trial, I'm assuming. But you could have before in a previous time, schedule a one-on-one session with her, which sounds so wonderful. And if you go, like I said, if you go to YouTube, it's no longer there. It's been taken down. But alas, we have the Facebook that everyone forgets about that still exists. And yes, it still exists. And if you need to get your roof done, go to a alleged child abuser friend or sponsor. That's the place that you can get it done. I'd be like, please, if this was my company, Optimum Construction, I'm like, please take me off of this. I don't want to be associated with you. Okay, so let's dive a little deeper. So here is how you can empower joy. So this is going to look very similar to every scammy, self-help-y website that I've ever looked at before. You got the embedded video. Yeah, I just remember seeing Heidi's, when Heidi was doing choose you, become you, learn you at my Show Up Summit in Arizona. This is what her website looked like essentially. Had the video there and she's like, guys, guess what? Da, da, da. And you have all this information with like these people who are just smiling and so happy. And who is this amazing guru I'm going to learn from? Oh, there she is with a professional photo. How much does it cost? Oh, it's only $202 a month. Oh, to empower joy of my life. Oh, finally, such a cheap and worthwhile cost. Okay, so let's watch her video. We'll get to know Jodi, who is the less known of the two between Ruby and Jodi. So here's her pitch here to teach you about learning joy, empowering joy, creating joy, whatever.
Welcome to the Empowering Joy class. I'm Jodi Hildebrandt. I am sure you're here because you have a desire to heal, a desire to have joy in your life and connection in your relationships. I have that same desire, not only for myself, but also for you. And so I'm very aware that many people are coming and they feel like they can't figure out how to have those things, joy, connection, clarity. And the truth is that you can. Those of you who have been given...
She must have taken advice from Ruby. She's like, what song should I use? She's like, the most obnoxious song called childvlog.mp4 that I have on my desktop that I use for my editing. Because how is this appropriate other than like, I guess it's joyful, but this does not sound like it's for adults who are searching for meaning in life. It's like, dun, 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 we go to Toys R Us to buy toys. Dun, 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 dun. That's the type of song I'm envisioning with this, or this type of video I'd envision to match with this type of song.
A diagnosis, I want to tell you that your diagnosis is not who you are. It's not you. The truth is that you can change. You just need education. You need the correct education. You need to understand about the power of your agency and what your agency / your choice has the power to do. And that's where the Empowering Joy class comes in.
I know.
Okay, here's a testimonial with the weirdest transition I've ever seen. Why is this so like bubbly? I mean, I guess it's joy once again, but like, doesn't this feel cartoonish? Like, why is it a Disney movie? Dun, 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 dun. Oh, wow. Oh, good transition. Okay, now we're going to the number one user of this training. This is our #1 student. She's only been accused of child abuse 6 times. She's great. Everyone else has been accused 20 or more.
I know that I am not the only mom who has spent much of her time looking for a program or a class or some kind of curriculum that I could share with my child, where my child would easily understand and learn about their value and their potential and to inspire them. What I have found is Empowering Joy, and it is now a family favorite. The tradition is every Saturday we get up and we listen to Empower.
Is a cowbell necessary? Can't you walk up the stairs and wake your children? Or apparently they're on their own timeline anyways, so is the cowbell necessary? Like, it seems very dehumanizing. I know it's a nitpick, tiny thing, but like...
Empowering Joy as we make breakfast together. It really sets the stage for the rest of the weekend. The changes that have occurred in my home have been calming. Because of Empowering Joy, my entire family now has a common vocabulary of...
Oh God, a common vocabulary. Okay, let's look at this. So I'm assuming this is a bad flower. Oh yeah, okay, so here we go. Here it comes. Deception. Was that it? Oh, I forgot again. And truth. Wait, no, it wasn't. What was it again? Tell me again. Distortion. Sorry, distortion. Okay, distortion and truth. Okay, the truth flower is aware, humble, honest, trust, happy. Okay, and something else. And then if you're living in distortion, fear, stuck, chaos, lies, hiding, depression, anger, and pain. Okay, so it seems like that's where we're at now, given the circumstances that we've leaned into distortion here. It's just ironic that this is like an overt attempt to contain this from happening in your family, and yet we have the situation we have. Is that like, I feel like it's not common, but I feel like the people who overtly or are over the top with like, I choose joy, are like the most miserable people. I create joy. They're abusing their children. Like, I just find it to be, the more you say like, my boyfriend and I are the best, most exceptional couple ever. They're going to divorce in, 6 days. I just think there's something to be said about like trying to prove yourself through verbalizing these things or pushing it onto other people. I'm going to teach you how to be like me. And then in reality, it's like they're nothing like they say they are.
Of words that we use with each other, that we know exactly what the other person means when they say them. We can communicate. But I guarantee you, you will find principles of joy in this class. At the end of each week, as I prepare...
Isn't it ironic that she worked, at least the report that I read, or the news report that I saw, she was working for Connections, or at least at some point. So she's the only testimonial, the other employee of this company. Okay.
For a new Saturday class, I'll take the slides off of the fridge and put them in a book.
Okay, let's look at these slides real quick. Okay, it says experience to perception to feeling, to action, to outcome. Okay. And on the side, can I zoom into this? I don't think so. No, I can only zoom into that. Then it says truth. Distortion. Okay. This sounds cultish to me. Am I right, medical medium? What do you say?
Why does this sound cult every second?
Yeah. Okay. We're going to have a graphic on our fridge that is, indoctrinating and confusing.
This spells cult. C-U-L-T.
Yeah, it's like let's force our children to learn this verbiage so that they experience joy. It's like, take them to the park. How about why don't you give them a lollipop? That's worked in the past for parents. No need for all this.
Put them in a book. This
and more stuff about distortion
provides my family with a book of principles and easy to understand visuals. This is literally the book on raising children that you have been looking for.
I'm assuming not, unless you want to be behind bars.
And it is a great way to learn as a family. For mom and dad, the children, invite grandparents, your aunts and uncles to join. And then you have curriculum to discuss the rest of the week. I like to print out my slides and put them on the fridge. And then anytime the kids come.
This is so utopian. Hi guys, look at like the consequences of making a wrong choice. Concepts that you cannot possibly understand at the young age that you are. But we're gonna force it upon you anyways. Okay, great. Okay, so here's the other one. Disagreement. Okay, two, blobs that are human formed. Curious. Help me understand. Okay, so you have a disagreement, I guess, right? If you're in truth, you go, help me understand your point of view. If you're in distortion, you're selfish. And I don't know what that word says. I'm right, maybe? Something like that. So if you have a disagreement with your mom, you should just be curious about this. Okay, I'm sure that works. I'm sure if the children were just curious about why their mom was screaming at them or taking away their Christmas or, making them sleep on a beanbag for 7 months, that if they were just curious, they would be in their truth. I'm sure that would be the case. And that was also something that came up a long time ago in other videos, is that, one of her sons, her older son, who I think everyone said was the other adult, was sent away to a wilderness camp, one of those, camps where if you have a troubled teen, they'll have you camp around and be separated from your family for an undetermined amount of time. That's like the troubled teen industry, which is very controversial, very problematic in a lot of ways. Paris Hilton's talked a lot about the camp, or not camp that she was at. She went to a school where they were very abusive, according to her, and many other former students have said. So that's problematic. She took, she didn't want her daughter, who's 6 years old. This is Ruby I'm talking about. Her young 6-year-old daughter to have lunch because she forgot to pack her lunch, and she should be hungry and learn the lesson. Like very strict, mean parenting that has gone on, and she publicly talked about it as if it was totally nothing to be wrong about. Thanks, MB. It's going to pop up in a second. Thank you so much. MB says, for your Aussie flight fund. Thank you so much. Yes, I would love, like I said, I want to go over there on that side of the world at some point in the near future, if possible. So if we have an audience in Australia, well, then I'll bring my gear. We can just do it from there.
No one's come to save us.
Thanks, Matthew McConaughey. Also,
Oh shit, there's shit on the pillow!
thanks, Matthew. And last thing that Matthew has to say.
Certain? I was not.
I think Matthew McConaughey seems like he would do well in Australia. Like he has the personality trait just to sit in the wilderness and just like contemplate life. And well, of course, on his Instagram. He's not contemplating life outside of Instagram, let's be real. Am I right, everybody? Thanks, MB. I appreciate that so much. Thank you. We're one step closer to seeing a kangaroo. All right, let's keep going.
Come home from school or come home from a play date or have an interaction that they're uncomfortable with, or maybe they're being disrespectful, I can go back to the visual and plug any experience into what we learned in a Saturday class. And the reason you can do that is because these are principles, and principles apply across the board in any situation.
I invite you to join me every Saturday to learn about principles of truth. The base being honest, responsible, and humble. And how...
Okay, there's nothing wrong with being honest, responsible, and humble. There's nothing wrong with those tenets of life, and there's nothing wrong with having those be something you aim for, strive for, whatever. But I feel, based on the material that I've watched thus far in their trainings that are available on Facebook, that is not quite what we're learning here. We're learning much more strict, obviously, abusive it's turned into, but like your kids do not have privacy. They do not deserve privacy. Your kids are disrespectful at the core. They will never strive and do anything for themselves unless you punish them for every bad thing they do. It's like, how does that fit into these core principles? It just seems like a very weird group of women who like hurting kids' feelings at the very least and hurting them physically at the worst, which is disgusting. Anyways, let's continue.
you can use your choices to empower you to recognize distortion and recognize truth and reframe those distortions, those lies, back into what the reality is, back into the truth, so that your life can become calm. Your life will become clear, and you will be able to have connection and peace. I'll see you on Saturday.
There you go. I always find it ironic too. Like they're like, oh, your life is going to be peaceful if you buy this thing for $200 a month. It's like you're teaching the class and you're in jail. How peaceful can that be? So I guess it doesn't work. We can just throw this webpage away also. Like the classes don't work. Because if you're the one who came up with it, because you're so embedded in the lifestyle that this was created around, it doesn't work. So we can just let it go. But here is the website. Empowering joy is a different modality of healing that psychotherapy cannot offer you. Okay, thanks, therapist Jodi. I don't understand people who get into the therapy field and then just spend time shitting on it and going, it doesn't work. You have to buy this course directly through me now. It's like, okay. All right. Transform your pain into joy. Choose the life you want to have. Exchange your confusion for clarity. Okay, very, very vague things that I guess apply to probably everyone wants that in some way. Does real change seem out of reach? You're a mom who doesn't feel good enough, and you're just trying to survive another day with your child. You're a husband that gave up on your marriage a long time ago. You're a teen, young adult who has been paralyzed by anxiety, depression, and addiction. You've gone to multiple therapists for yourself or your child without experiencing any real results. Okay, so a pretty wide net there. Pretty wide net. Women, children, men, anyone can benefit. Okay, so you have the power to choose what the story of your life is going to be. Okay, empower your life with training that is built on principles of honesty, responsibility, and humility. Your Empowering Joy membership includes live training with Jodi every Saturday on Zoom from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Wow, what a great time to pick for Saturday morning. That's evil within itself. Can we make it at 9 maybe? Because I would like to sleep in on my one day off. And that includes printable learning slides. So you have to print it yourself, which, oh, what a steal. You also have 24/7 access to the Connections digital library. Wow. 50 plus videos of retreats, Jodi's live trainings, and live Q&A trainings. And then you have 24/7 access to a bonus course, Self-Care and Self-Love, which includes 218-page digital workbook and 8 videos. Okay. So ironic. Okay. So who is she? Now, again, she's currently in jail. Are you ready to feel empowered? Are you ready to put on stripes? Are you ready to put on that orange jumpsuit, Jenny? Sorry, I'm being mean, but whatever, she deserves it. Hello, I'm Jodi Hildebrandt, MS. So that means, in this case, what is MS? Mental, I'm not sure. Social work? I'm not sure what MS, there's always different titles depending on what state you're into. But she does have a license, or at least she did in psychotherapy. Your mental fitness and relationship expert. Okay. She spent 25 years working with people just like us, just like you, to help facilitate positive and powerful change. I began practicing in the psychotherapy world, and my patients were not healing. This is another holistic psychologist seemingly story here, where she was the therapist, uses it as her credentials as to why she's qualified, and then shits on it the whole time. When I began empowering people by educating them with principles of truth, which is learning to be honest, responsible, and humble, I saw my patients radically change right in front of me. Okay, so you went off script and started saying crazy stuff. You don't have to be a victim to your circumstances or the people around you. You can have the life you want, but you must dispose of distortions, ugly lies in order to live in truth, connection, and freedom. Become a member of Empowering Joy to work on the foundations necessary to uncover the truth. You have the power to make positive and long-lasting changes that can transform your life and completely change the path that you're on. Okay, so we got some testimonials. Like I said, here's the prices, $21 a month, or to get one-on-one sessions with Jodi, it's $202 a month. So there you go. Okay, you become a member, then you do these Saturday indoctrination calls. Then you see your life and relationships clearly, and then you gain the confidence and tools you need to change. Amazing. Okay, you can renew your mind, blah, blah, blah. Okay, this is what you get. Your self-care bullshit. Are there videos here? No. You can learn, this is a Heidi Powell special. Knowing yourself and being yourself. I love when someone's going to teach me online in a pre-uploaded course about knowing myself. It's like, you actually physically do not know me. And then here it says, is connections training faith-based? Now, this is something that has come up a lot, that members of the Mormon Church in Utah have been referring their parishioners, do they call it in the Mormon Church? I'm not sure. Their members to go to this person, Jodi, and to this course to learn, about their issues in life. And it's been pushed heavily by the church as like good, she's great, we approve of this, apparently, according to members in the community who have been recommended her. And it says, connections is founded on universal principles, the base being honesty, responsibility, and humility. Principles are not tied to religion. We believe a higher power exists, and you need that divinity in your life to experience lasting transformation. However, like I said, she's very closely connected to the Mormon Church, so it's not based in faith. So she says, but wink, wink, this is the faith that I believe in. Okay. So that's one course, is connections, creating joy. And we have this wonderful family who I believe might be, I don't know, she looks similar to Ruby almost. Like, I know she's got two sisters two or three sisters, and they're all mommy vloggers as well, which I disagree with, as well. But this is the home page. Okay, we already saw this. The other offerings, she does the Empowering Joy. Then she also has a men and women's team, which is a $75 a week for 3 months Zoom call group. And then they have one-on-one before. Okay, so that's the website. That's if you were to sign up today, which you will probably not get a call back for a while. That's the website. You can transform with Jodi on Connections. Now here's some media. Now, again, like I said, these on YouTube have been taken down, but like I said, they are still on Facebook. But here's some previews, some foreshadowing for today's. What is truth? True versus the truth. What is distortion? Adulation versus denigration. Truth is under attack. My child is scared of school. That was just a bonus episode. All right, let's get into it, shall we? Okay, let's just jump into a random one. I thought this one was interesting because it's about parents. And here we are talking about two parents who are now facing child abuse charges. So who better to learn from, right? Once again. And this is called The Root Issue Behind Your Child's Acting Out Behavior, Parenting and Truth. Okay, and the description says, what is driving your child's acting out behavior? The root issue is that your child is disconnected from the truth. Join us for this final episode of Parenting and Truth to understand your child's behavior and how to address what's underneath the surface. All right, let's see what they have to say. We'll see how long we last.
Welcome to Connections. I'm Jodi Hildebrandt.
And I'm Ruby Franke.
We have been doing a series of videos, and hopefully you've watched the first 3, about parenting and how to empower you and embolden you to be a parent that parents inside truth rather than distortion. So this segment is going to be teaching you how to recognize behaviors that are in truth rather than distortion, so that you can become that centered, truthful parent that feels confident about your parenting abilities.
Do you think they went to the hair salon together and said, we want the same thing? Can we get a 2-for-1 special? Because I have not seen two women who look different, in some ways, have the same exact haircut and hair color and way they style it so closely. Very interesting. Like they must have the same person doing this.
Regardless of the feedback you get, especially from your kiddos and from spouses and other adults that look at your abilities and say, don't really agree with that. Not quite sure where that's coming from. But for you, you're based in a place of principles of truth.
How many of you have some of these acting out behaviors going on in your home? You have sneaking of clothes, maybe taking the car, stealing money, maybe taking
stealing of clothes. From what? From where? This clothes store or your closet? Or they're putting on clothes and they're not supposed to. I don't know what stealing clothes means. Or sorry, sneaking of clothes. Oh, like taking sexy clothes or something, or like not conservative clothes and wearing it. Okay, all right. I guess I understand what that is, an acting out behavior.
Electronics when they haven't been given permission for those electronics, abusive actions toward other siblings, sassy talk, all of these would be distorted choices that your child is making.
So any type of lying, hiding, being unwilling to be direct and forthcoming, promiscuity, drinking, drugging, any kind of putting substances in their body that would be destructive to their body, any kind of, Ruby talked about sassing. I listen to kids be so disrespectful to themselves and also to adults, like defying authority, thinking that they're on the same equal playing field as far as authority is concerned, which children are not and should not, because they don't have the same power structure. They need to understand that they can rely on adults who have more power than them. So these are all acting out behaviors, and they're all in what we call distortion. So there are acting out behaviors that are in truth. Let's name some of them.
How about being cheerful? How about asking your child to follow through on their responsibilities and take the garbage out or unload the dishwasher, and them showing up and saying, yeah, sure.
Yeah. Keeping commitments, being willing to
do labor for me and my home. Like, okay, I'm not saying that kids shouldn't have chores. Kids should definitely have chores. I think that's fine within reason. I watch Wife Swap a lot. Like sometimes the parents have like these chore lists that's 1,000,000 miles long. I'm like, all right. Like, I think you're a kid once. Let the kid enjoy their childhood, please. But I don't think it's wrong inherently. But like, that's the only example of like, this is what your child should be doing. Like, shouldn't your child be exploring, learning, doing, like, they could also do chores, but that's the first and only example that I've heard so far is like, your children should when I order them to clean the dishwasher, they should come and say, yeah, love it, great. It's like, okay, is that it? Like little child soldier laborers, like that's what we are asking for, and I guess that is what we're asking for here with this, which is sad.
be honest when they speak to you. Being willing to take responsibility for their own perceptions. It's so nice to sit across from somebody who is either a child or an adult, and it doesn't turn into this threatening experience, this intimidating experience, this coercive, this manipulative experience. They're honest, I'm honest, they take responsibility for their own perceptions, their own feelings, their own actions, they own it. When I'm in distortion, I'm like, oh, that's mine. I'm going into distortion. Give me a minute. Let me recenter. And because I know how to do it, it only takes me seconds to recenter. For people who are learning, it's going to take you maybe minutes or hours or maybe days to really understand, like, whoa, I went into distortion. Let me own that. But the beauty is that the person is humble and they're willing to own their behavior. It's so lovely. Those are acting out behaviors inside truth.
Yeah. How lovely would that be for your child to come to you and say, you know what, Mom, an hour ago, I was so off. I can see I was being selfish. I was in distortion. I really am upset that I chose that, and I will not be choosing that again. Yeah. How wonderful would that be? Yeah. And it's totally possible.
Well, from what I understand, she didn't give her kids an hour to relax and just come to that decision on their own. It seems like there was immediate punishment, immediate threatening of taking away of, affection, food at times, from what I've heard. So, yeah, it would be great if kids came to their own conclusions about, like, I'm sorry, I apologize. But I think forcing them by threat of violence or of threat of not having, food to eat when you're legally responsible to live in this house, that's not it, girly girl.
It is possible as you learn principles of truth, and then hold yourself and hold your child accountable to live those principles of truth.
Right. So all the acting out behaviors that we just described that are in distortion, the lying, the hiding, the secrecy, the aggression, all of that kind of nasty behavior are not the issues. So people will come and they'll say, I'm having this problem with my child, and they'll describe some kind of acting out behavior. I talked to a parent years ago who they decided to take the phone away from their teenager, and she got so upset that she threatened to go up on the roof and jump off. Now that's an exaggerative response, but that's an acting out behavior. So then they called me and I said, call the police. Like, call the psych ward. Like, don't call me. If she's going to go threaten to jump off a building, she needs psychiatric attention. But really, it was all about her trying to get control. She was trying to manipulate. She was trying to coerce and threaten. And her parents, thank goodness they had enough awareness around principles of truth that they didn't go for that. It scared them. But they actually admitted her into a psych ward, not because she needed psychiatric care, but
because it would punish her. It would punish her. And that's what we want. We don't want to embarrass and punish. That's what we're here for as parents. We don't want to talk to our kid. We don't want to ask them what's going on. We want to punish immediately. I just love that. Like, if she needed psychiatric care, fine, I'm all for it. Great. Put them in any facility they need help with, whatever. I don't know. I'm a supporter of that in people when they really are in crisis. I don't think there's anything embarrassing about it. But the fact that she says she didn't need it, but they did it anyways, that's where I'm like, okay, when you don't need it, then what are we abusing the system for? Again, to punish her, like put her in jail. Put her in jail. 19 will learn a lesson. It'll be on her permanent record. Great. Like, okay. That's I'm going to go back a little bit. I want to hear what she has to say, what they did it for.
But they actually admitted her into a psych ward, not because she needed psychiatric care, but because they were letting her know that we are the ones that have the authority. And if you're going to threaten hurting your life, then we are going to put you into a place that can give you some time to calm down and see if that's really what you want to do next time, is threaten like that. So these...
It seems like an extremely extreme response to me. I mean, teenagers say a lot of things. I think like the parents should be weighing like, okay, and she's like, oh, she didn't really need it. It's like, okay, so they've already weighed it, that this is actually not what's going on here. But again, it's like to embarrass them, to imprison them, against their will. Oh, it's a place to relax. Like that could also be a very traumatic place, especially if you're not going through like a very severe mental health breakdown. Like you just want your phone and you said something stupid. Like that's two different things. Anyways.
These kind of acting out behaviors, they aren't the issue, but in the moment they look like the issue. Like the parents couldn't just ignore that this girl did this. Parents can't ignore that someone's choosing not to eat or they're binging. People can't ignore that their child is in the bedroom, vaping or using substances. They can't ignore those things. So yes, it is an issue, but it's not the thing that's driving them. The thing that's driving them is that your child is disconnected from truth.
Right. So if you're asking the question, what do I do to
Your child is annoyed by your janky ass house and rules, probably. And they're also a teen that is going through puberty in a high school and is, got a million things to do and is confused and has weird parents, obviously, given that they're talking to you at all. That's probably why, honestly. God. Okay. All right, Ruby, let us know.
Accurately discipline this child so they stop vaping? What do I do to discipline appropriately so that my daughter stops being promiscuous? If you're asking those kinds of questions, you're missing the mark. This is not a discipline question. This is not about you disciplining too harshly or not strict enough. This goes a lot deeper.
Of course, she thinks that. There's no strict enough in her world, apparently.
Deeper than just the acting out, because the acting out is the symptom of the selfishness and entitlement. So a truthful question would be, how do I grab the attention of my child who's entitled? How do I boundary the selfishness inside of my home?
Mm-hmm. Right. And behind that entitled, selfish behavior is
Again, we still have this music in the background, the soundtrack of like child vlog, like day at the aquarium, while we're talking about our teenager being punished for vaping. It does not match the vibe. Like, take the music off. How about? We don't need a vibe actually at all.
Young soul that is very afraid that they don't have worth. That's what's behind it. And so you want to learn how to regulate and use principles of truth so that you can parent from a place of compassion and simultaneous boundaries. Being compassionate does not negate boundaries. They both are principles of truth, so you can have them simultaneously. But so many of us, we lean on this side of compassion as though compassion is the negation of boundaries, and that's not the truth. Your children need principles of truth in their life. You need principles of truth so that you can share those with them. The reason why people act out in destructive behaviors is because they don't understand the power of being honest, responsible, and humble. Because behind all of that is this fear that I don't matter, that I'm not enough, that I'm unloved, I'm unworthy, I'm bad. And you may not see that as the parent. You just see aggressive behavior. You see a child saying, screw you, and I'll do what I want. That doesn't sound fearful, does it? However, that kind of overt attack is really a big, huge...
I would highly doubt that Ruby's children ever once said anything close to what they're talking about. I highly doubt any of them vaped or were promiscuous or talked back in this way where they're like, I'm gonna jump off the roof, bitch. Like I would be absolutely shocked out of my mind if any one of her kids got even close to saying that, because they were so controlled and disciplined. Like they couldn't even, she told a story. I watched this H3 video the other day about this topic, and it was like an old TikTok that Ruby had made, talking about how her 3-year-old, she put her 3-year-old and like her 7-year-old or something, it was another age of her child, but young, under the, not a teenager, on the couch, and said, I'm going to go upstairs to nap, and you're going to watch a movie downstairs on the couch, and don't you dare get off the couch, and not by any circumstances do not leave. And little like 4-year-old, 3-year-old got hungry between the time when he was sat on the couch and when she went upstairs to sleep, and he went to the kitchen and got pineapples or a pineapple chunks or something, and some of it spilled on the floor, and apparently he tried to clean it up, but it wasn't good enough, and she was outraged that you got off the couch and you went to the kitchen even though I didn't tell you could go to the kitchen. Okay, that level of like what happened there is not vaping and jumping off the roof. But I feel like when you're so twisted, like I think these people are, anything that you don't agree with immediately becomes you need to be disciplined, because discipline makes you a good kid, and you need to be good at all times. It's like, oh my God. There's another instance where her other little daughter had said, what movie are we seeing? Because the mom said, we're going to the movies. And the daughter's like, what movie are we seeing? And she took that as a huge, how dare you ask me? You shouldn't be asking what movie. You should be grateful that you're going to a movie at all, that you should watch anything that I allow you to watch. And she called the babysitter on the phone and said, I need a last minute babysitter. I was going to take my daughter to the movies, but now I'm not, because she's asked me what movie we're seeing. Like, that's the level of distortion that's going on in at least Ruby's brain in the past. So, I don't know what these people are using, these very extreme examples that any person could go, yeah, I don't want my teenager to vape. I would prefer them not to. But like in reality, in practice, what it's actually being used for are like the most benign, like non-issues in 99% of households. So it's just interesting, I guess.
I call it the blowfish. They blow themselves up so that they can pretend to themselves and to you that they're larger than life, that they've got everything handled, they've got everything figured out, they don't need any help. And the truth is, they're scared to death under the surface.
I wonder why.
Our job as parents, your job as a parent, is to know that when you see acting out behavior in any way, shape, or form, connect the dot to this child is unaware of who they are and their value. And part of the reason they're unaware is because of their destructive choices. They keep using their agency to choose distortion.
And we didn't give them value because we don't value them. So in our house, they are valueless unless they are doing chores constantly and are achieving at school academically and are most likely reading the Mormon dictionary or whatever at home, or reading the Bible or whatever, is going on. It's like, I wonder where that lack of value stems from. Maybe we should go into the root cause, ladies. It's probably the parents.
Just deception rather than truth. And when any of us do that, we feel badly about ourselves. We don't honor ourselves. We don't value ourselves. We are the ones that are buying into this lie that says, well, if I was a good person, I wouldn't do that. So because I do that, it means I'm a bad person. There's no truth to that. And so that's really way back here. That's the core of what you as a parent need to understand and your children need to understand. And you as the parent, if you're parenting in distortion, you have the same fears in the background. The same fear.
So the real issue at hand is, do you see truth? If you are the parent, then your job is to be on the watchtower. You cannot be a lifeguard in your child's life if you can't see the entire pool. You cannot be a lifeguard in your child's life if you don't know where the deep end is and how to swim and where the shallow end is and where that drop off is. And in most pools, it's a graduation before you get to the deep end. And so don't just stand by and watch your child walk in this gradation down to the deep end. And so the issue is, do you see?
What is the truth though? Like, what is that? That you're always wrong if you're a kid. No matter what you do, you're always wrong. So just, just smile and do whatever your parents tell you, even if it's idiotic and bizarre. Is that the truth? Because that's what it seems like it is, but they haven't defined the truth yet. They've defined distortion quite a bit. Define the truth now.
See truth? How fast do you see truth? Do you see truth in the moment, or do you interact with your child and then you go to bed and then at 2 a.m. you wake up and you go, wait a minute, I just got played? or do you see your child? I set a boundary with one of my children. I said, you're not going to be allowed to play board games anymore, because every time you play a board game and you lose, you throw the board game across the table, or you whine and complain, or you hit your hands on the table. So no more games.
That's an acting out behavior. You
Yeah,
hear that?
slamming hands on the board, acting angry because you lost. That's totally distorted.
So what's the punishment? No board games ever again? Like, is that the best way to learn the lesson of being a good sport? Like, I played tennis for many, many years, and I would get very angry about losing, and especially when you're young. Like, you don't know. You're like, I'm pissed. I lost. What? I want to win. And you learn over time, like, the rules of the game are, you shake that person's hand every single time after the match, and you get off the court. And after learning that, but not cutting it off and going, you're never playing again, you would probably not learn that lesson. You need to continue to give some guidance. Hey, that's not how it is. How about a little bit of a warning? How about a little bit of like, hey, that's not how we do this in this house. Let's, next time we need to work on this. And if it continues to happen, okay, that's a different conversation. But like, it seems like I have an emotional reaction that's fairly normal, a human condition. Take it away, never to be seen again. It's like, okay, very extreme.
And it's because of a fear in this child that this child isn't really enough. This is all about fear. And he's acting it out by hitting the board is an acting out behavior. And if I
think sometimes kids don't want to lose and adults don't want to lose either. It's not that deep, I don't think, every time. Maybe, but I don't think so.
I don't see that as an acting out behavior. If I don't see that in truth, I can't guide my child. I can't say, hold on now, this is not appropriate. I'm not okay with all of this aggression being thrown at the family, and then boundary it. So the issue is, can you see truth? Can you see truth in the moment? How fast can you get there?
So did you hear that nuance? This is an issue about slamming his hands. Okay. So the issue is, the girl climbing up on the roof. It is an issue, but it's not the.
Those are two very different spectrum issues. Someone going like this because they lost a board game, and someone climbing on the roof, which she didn't even do. She threatened, allegedly, to climb on the roof, dramatically. Okay, those are very different things. How can we say the punishment is the same for this? That's ridiculous.
Issue. It's a symptom. So see the acting out behavior, do your very best to boundary it, and then come and learn how to actually understand what's driving that desire to react, to say something dishonest, to hide, to be aggressive, to be mean, to be blaming.
What did he say dishonest? And also, like, okay, where in her explanation of I punished him by taking away the board games, did she uncover the truth here about what is actually going on? I didn't hear that be a part of it.
All of that is being driven by fear.
When you hold your child accountable, it can be a scary place. I get it, because kids don't want to be accountable. And sometimes, a lot of times, their aggression gets even bigger when you hold them accountable. It's like, oh, well, how do I hold them accountable without them like throwing it back at me. And you don't. If the motive to get really big and aggressive by being held accountable is inside your child, let that come out. Let that bubble up to the surface, because what you're doing is you're putting your child right in front of their fear. Let that fear bubble up inside and come out. When you don't hold a child accountable, or you don't know how,
but don't let it bubble up naturally when they're showing that they're upset about something. Don't cut that off immediately. Let them not express that. But they need to express the disappointment in the punishment, because that's okay. That doesn't make sense, I don't think.
And that's where Jodi and I can come in to help. If you don't know how to hold
thanks.
a child accountable, or you don't, what you're doing is you're saying, it's okay. I'm going to stand by and allow this aggression inside my child to grow. I am going to aid this aggression to grow inside my child and get bigger. Mm-hmm. And a lot of parents will say, well, it's just a phase. They'll grow out of it. Mm-hmm. Or, just give it some time. They'll figure it out.
No.
And the truth is, your child just gets really good at masking the fear. They get really good at manipulating. And it looks like they grew out of the phase, but that fear...
They really hate children, so it seems. And people generally, like all these people are like, do you think the parents that are coming to you for this one-on-one session don't have issues that weren't addressed as children, but it's okay because they're parents and they have power now, so that's just fine? It's like they only like people in power, and they also want to be in power. They think anyone who's disadvantaged in power, aka children, deserve to be punished by them. And I find that to be a very troubling mindset, and a mindset that I think a lot of people had 200 years ago, which is like, I am in control and everyone else who's not in control deserves to be punished for whatever I deem not acceptable to me. And I think that's sort of like they have that mentality that was the mainstream at one point many years ago, and they're taking it out on their children, which is sad.
Stays with them.
That's right. So part of walking around with fear is that the more I choose distortion, trying to control the fear, the more numb I become. So people act out in lots of different ways. And some of us are like, oh my goodness, watch the 10 o'clock news. And we're like, oh my goodness, did you hear what happened on the news? Did you see that man or that woman? And we're alarmed. Well, what that is acting out behavior. And it's gotten to such a level that it's gotten the attention of the news because that person has numbed themselves.
Ironically, they've been like the number one news story in Utah for the last month or so. Whoa, I'm just shocked that their distortion has gotten so out of control. They've made the news. Oh. Meanwhile, breaking news. Jodi and Ruby arrested for allegedly abusing their children who were they're just setting boundaries, they said. God.
By millions of choices of reacting to the fear, like they're trying to run away from the fear by distracting themselves and all this acting out behavior. And now they've done something really egregious.
Thanks, MB. Dang, you are coming through. Thank you so much. I appreciate all your support tonight. Thank you. MB says, I used to be a ballet dancer and I loved it, but I was so burnt out and I was never allowed to take a day off. If I ever wanted to rest, I was told I wasn't allowed to dance again. It just made me resent my parents. Yeah, that's pretty messed up. I don't know what people want to gain from that, what parents hope to gain from cutting off activities that kids love and that are good for them, in order to take a break, or in order to, like, something happens there, that's not that big of a deal. And then all of a sudden, like, let's take away the one thing that they love. I don't understand that. That was always something that my mom did do. Like my mom, I had an internship in high school and she knew I really cared about it a lot. Like it was very important to me. It was something that I had a lot of confidence about because it was something that was like a little bit more exclusive of a program. And I was like proud of myself for getting there. And it was always the threat. It was like, I'm going to take you out of that. I'm going to take you out of that if you don't, listen to me, if you don't do what I want to do. It's like, can't there be a discipline that doesn't involve like ruining someone's enjoyment? And I guess like in this case too, like your parents, I'm sure were like paying for some of it, I suppose. Like their argument, like, I'm not going to pay if you don't listen to me. At the same time, it's like, why do you have kids? And then just you're upset all the time. It's like, I don't get it. I really don't. Like, there's certain things that rise to a level, and I'm not a parent, so I guess it's hard for me to make super judgments, but like, there's certain things I'm like, if your kid is drinking alcohol all the time, doing drugs, getting in fights, like there's a super high threshold for me. If they're talking back and experimenting with like, you know, I don't know, different hairstyles or clothes or something that you don't get, like, is that what we're doing? Or you talk back or something? It's like, kids got a lot of stuff going on, and respect is difficult, I guess, to earn as a parent. I don't know. It just seems like it's not about you right now. Like, they're going through stuff. Most parents that I know, or kids or whatever, they had tumultuous teen years where they were like, you know, rolling their eyes at their parents. And now that they're 25, they like, let's get brunch. My mom's my best friend. Oh, she's going to help me with my wedding. Like, they come through it. That's like what I've seen, at least, unless it's these extreme cases, which in that case, go to a therapist, you know, and not this one, not this lady, a therapist that can help them maybe work through some of those issues, or, you know, find a way to get them into a program that will help them, like a sports program or a dance program or something where they can get out of the situation they're in. Maybe it's caused by, you know, lack of opportunity, like, but punishing the kid for, you know, dealing with normal human issues, it sucks. And I hate that for you. So I'm sorry, MB, that's lame. I hope you're taking adult dance classes now at your own leisure, whenever you would like to, because that's what you deserve. And I also have to say,
are you friggin' bonker pants?
And also,
I don't do murder. That is not a thing I do.
Just in case you didn't know that, now you know. Thanks, MB. Okay, let's continue.
That it's going to land them in jail or something. So let's catch it.
Someone pull this. Someone pull this and put it in a compilation. Okay, let me go back for a second.
From the fear by distracting themselves and all this acting out behavior, and now they've done something really egregious that it's going to land them in jail or something. So
like
let's catch it back at hitting the board game. Now, if I come over to Ruby's house and her son hits the board game and I'm like, that kid's destined for prison, you would sit there and say, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah.
Jodi. And I'd say, yeah.
And you're kind of negative, aren't you?
It's kind of a huge leap.
Rude.
It's like, well, the principle is this. If that behavior is not seen as aggression, if that behavior is not identified as distortion, if that child is not seen as...
That's such bullshit. This also reminds me of my mom. Like, my mom would accuse me of something I wasn't doing. And if I wasn't doing it, I'm like, well, I might as well do it now, because my mom accuses me of doing it anyways. And I'm saying no. And she's like, you're lying to me. I know what you're doing. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. I really am not. And she's like, yeah, right. You lie to me about everything. Okay, well, now I might as well go and do it, because either way, I'm not having the fun of, you know, drinking alcohol or whatever that you're accusing me of. So I might as well go and try that now, because I'm already experiencing the negative consequences. So if you are accusing a kid of hitting his hands in frustration on a board game that he's going to go to prison, well, you might as well act up and do whatever it takes to get to prison, because why not? My parents already treat me like I'm like a criminal in my own home. So why am I going to like stay on the straight and narrow when I could go and have some experiences that are like a little bit more, I don't know, wild and crazy? Because I might as well, because I'm not doing that. So, I don't know. It just seems like a counterintuitive way to discipline your child once again.
As hurting and being afraid, and then taught how to manage their emotion. If they're not taught how to be responsible for their own feelings, their own perceptions, because that's what's coming up in them. They're perceiving that this is bad, that I'm losing. So I, as the parent, need to teach them how to perceive differently, because it's okay if you lose. Guess what? You lose in life. That's all right. You don't get everything you want in life. There's pain in life. There's all sorts of discomfort in life, kiddo. If I don't teach them to be responsible for their perceptions, then they're not just hitting a board game at 11. At 13, they're hitting people. And then at 18, they're hitting other people outside of our home. And they're going on and on and on. These people that end up in jail or end up in the system or end up in, you know, rocky relationships and domestic violence, they weren't born to do that.
They had really strict parents who are also life coaches, and they forced them down that road like us. Yikes. Okay, I guess they're not seeing that. Childhood abuses could lead to this actually happening. Rainy Cannon, thank you so much. Rainy Cannon, welcome. Woo, woo, woo. Rainy Cannon says, request for it. That kid's destined for prison. Yeah, that's a good one. It's sad because they really truly believe this bullshit, which is concerning. I guess they believe it, I suppose. Maybe they just want to sell some courses to some scared parents out there. I don't know. But yeah, that's a good soundbite without context. And for that I say,
this is a really intense woman.
Say that again, Ed. What do you have to say?
Anybody who's gone through any abuse or dysfunction in their childhood, we have different eyes.
Those kids are gonna have different eyes, according to Ed Millett. What about this?
Oh, this is really good for me.
Every kid that's in trouble, that's what they think. This is really good for me. And also, you guys, this is what I have to say about Ruby and Jodi.
You are smart, but you aren't this smart.
You ain't this smart to not end up in jail because of your dumb decisions. So, sorry about it. Thanks, Rainy Cannon. Okay. Back to it.
They learned it through distorted perceptions that no one, not themselves or other people, were able to say, hey, that's a problem. Or maybe they only had one or two people that said, hey, that's a problem. You need to look at your perceptions. So we're here inviting you as an individual, as a parent, and also us as adults collectively. We're here to start seeing our children's behaviors as acting out behaviors, as a sign and a symptom that we need to address their perceptions. Because their perceptions are at the base of this, and their perceptions are off. Their perceptions are in distortion, and therefore they feel fear. And then they act out in this way, trying to control.
I think they're trying to come up with a reason why their kids are telling people at school that they're afraid of their parents. Like they're going to school and they're like, I'm really not trusting my parents to take good care of me. I'm scared of them. I can't tell them anything. They'll just punish me for every single thing I ever think or do. And these people created an entire program to show that, no, everything that you ever do is based in fear. That's why my children are saying this at school, not because I'm scaring them. No, not at all. Like, instead of going to therapy themselves, they're like, let me make a course to prove them all wrong. Thank you, Red Fluorescent. Thank you so much. Red Fluorescent says, thank you for covering this. You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm glad we're not going into the super details. I think, again, that's been covered quite a lot. I think there's so many better YouTube channels for that content, but because this relates to so much of the other shit that we listen to about like choosing this and choosing that and not, listening to the outside sources, it fits perfectly into the type of content. And I think there'll be some overlap as well that we'll hear from other life coaches in the future, I'm sure. So no problem. And also, let me say this.
Make sure you have a lot of bubble bath.
It is Saturday and the weekend, so make sure you have a lot of bubble bath, everybody. It's going to be a self-care weekend, right? Also,
you look like a Lord of the Rings elf.
There you go. I just wanted to insult you real fast. Thank you. Okay, back to it again.
All that fear.
And this is why it's important for you parents to see truth. Because if I went to my son and said, I see him acting aggressive, hitting the table, blaming his brothers and sisters for being better at the game than him or accusing them of cheating. If I just looked at that and said, oh, I'm so sorry you lost. How does it feel that you lost the game? It doesn't mean anything about you. And I'd never say anything about the aggression that just came out. He's learned that he can manipulate and use his feelings as a distraction away from his behaviors. And I know a lot of parents go there because they don't want to be too strict and hurt their kid, which
I feel like what she said there was like the best thing she said so far. Like, oh, I'm sorry you feel that way and this happened and it doesn't mean anything about you as a person. Let's not throw our hands on the table though, because that's not very nice, is it? Okay, well, next time I'm expecting you to be a good sport. Okay, all right, go on. How is that? She's like, that is the worst thing that you could do. It's like, okay. My child was going to prison if I didn't discipline him immediately and I gave him some nice, comfort. No, he would be in jail. Ironically, she's in jail now. It's not funny because it's horrible, but given this life coaching and they keep thinking and they keep accusing them kids of going to jail, the fact that they're both in jail, makes me feel better.
The distortion, and they don't want to ignore the child's feeling. There are so many articles out right now that are saying if you ignore your child's feelings, that's going to hurt them. And that's true. You don't want to ignore your child or their feelings. You want to.
She's like, is that true, Jodi? The feelings are not supposed to be ignored, right? And Jay's like, I mean, I would say, yeah, ignore all their feelings. But they're like, okay, we're already recording. I guess we can't change it now.
Acknowledge their feelings, validate their feelings, and hold them accountable for the behaviors that they allowed their feelings to give them permission to go and act out and do.
Right. And so what Ruby just said is absolutely accurate. So you're helping them see their behaviors, you're helping them see their emotions or feelings, and you're helping them see their perceptions. Perceptions come first. It goes perception, emotion, behavior. So you address the acting out. We
need to call Elizabeth Koch to talk about the perception box. She's like, I've been saying this the whole time. This is my content. Perception box.
Acknowledge the emotion and don't forget to go after their perceptions, because that perception is what caused all of this. That distorted perception inside them that they chose created
totally agree,
all
Laura.
of this. And this stuff in distortion, there's no truth in it. So hold them accountable to seeing that. Like, get a whiteboard out or a piece of paper and say, okay, let's go through what you perceived. You were playing a game and your brother bought your country. They're playing Risk, bought the country, and then you realized, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose the game. And your perception in your head went, I'm going to look stupid. I'm going to look incapable. I don't want to lose. I have a right to win. You hear all those statements? Those are all perceptions.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden my emotion starts welling up inside me, and then my action, boom, hit the table.
So Jodi, what if my son's
and then prison, right? That was the next step. That was the next in that order, right?
perception is I'm no good, I'm bad, I don't deserve to live in this house? Wouldn't holding him accountable?
What the fuck? I don't think any child goes like this and goes, I lost a game. I don't deserve to live in this house. What? That's a projection if I ever heard one. Okay, let me go back for just a second.
I'm bad, I don't deserve to live in this house. Wouldn't holding him accountable just reinforce that he's no good? Like, I don't want to hurt him if that's his perception.
Right. You hear that? You hear how frightening that is? They come up like, I'm no good, I'm stupid, I'm bad, Yeah, it would.
I don't think any kid that's not going through something awful because probably their parents have put this on them feels like because they've made a mistake, they don't deserve to live in the house anymore. Okay, that is like toxic parent thing. My mom used to kick me out all the time when I was in high school and like lock me out of the house dramatically, and it was like, I never thought I didn't deserve to live in the house. This is you kicking me out of the house all the time dramatically, so that we just had to like, I don't know, walk to my friend's house in the middle of the night, and like the next day she'd call me, okay, you can come back. Like, oh God, can I just I don't think I don't deserve to live here. I know legally I'm supposed to be here. This is your perception.
Look, it looks like telling them truth would harm them even further.
It would say, yeah, you are no good.
Right. But here's the reality. Here's the truth. Truth cannot harm.
That's not true.
Telling someone the truth cannot harm, and here's why.
Yeah.
The only way for them to get out is to show them where the actual door is, which is to tell them the reality, which is when you play a game, someone's going to lose. It's just part of playing a game. You have perceptions onto losing is bad. Losing is I'm no good. Losing means that I'm stupid. I'm incapable. I'm not loved. You are the one that's putting that perception. It's not the experience. So if I don't tell my child that, and I just say, oh, well,
there's nothing wrong with telling your child that, but again, like the punishment that comes after and thinking that they're going to end up in jail because they had an emotion that wasn't joy, smiling joy and obedience, that is the problem. There's nothing wrong with bringing this up in a conversation, but the punishment part is the problem, I think.
You're loved, you're good.
Maybe you'll win next time.
Yeah, next time, let him win.
No, I don't think you should do that. I hated that when someone would like let me win. It would bother me even more. But I also need to express my anger a little bit too. Like, I'm frustrated. I need to get it off my chest so I can move on with my day. I don't need to hurt anyone else, but like if I have anger, let me be a little angry. It's okay.
I've seen parents do this away from the child, like, let them win this time. It's like, what? So
that's the school of Heidi Powell as well. Heidi's like, I will never let my children win in a card game. It's like, okay, good for you, girl. You're beating an 8-year-old at Uno. Cool, I guess. Like, Dad, sure, that's a tactic you can take. Fine. But like, it's like such a braggadocious thing. Like, oh, I'll never let my kids win. It's like, okay, fine. It's like, but what, you want an award for that? Like, I don't get it. I don't know. You don't have to throw it in their face either. Like, I don't know. It's weird.
Telling them the truth is the only way for them to get out of this, because they are lying to themselves. So when your kid comes to you and says, I'm no good, you don't say, oh, honey, you're really good. You're awesome. You're fantastic. Like, you're my favorite. You don't do that.
You just gave in to their manipulation.
Yes. You say,
Jesus Christ. These are two abused people themselves, honestly, is what it seems like. Your kid goes, I'm no good, seeking validation or some comfort from their mother, the one person in their life that's supposed to be like, you know, close to them, caring for them, nurturing them. Ugh, don't tell them that they're awesome. Punish them. That's the only way. Okay.
Say to them, you look at them and say, wow, that's a really ugly perception. That's a really painful perception. Why is it that you're using your agency to choose to think like that? You hold them completely accountable for what they're perceiving.
They're not, again, like, people do have feelings, you guys. And you guys, I'm talking to you guys, Ruby and Judy, or whatever. Like, people have feelings. Let people have feelings. Why cannot they have a negative feeling? Again, choose joy becomes this toxic thing when it's like this. No, you can't be anything but perfectly happy and obedient. That is like the cornerstone of these people's perceptions. It doesn't mean they're manipulating you or attempting to manipulate you. They're expressing their opinions. Every time someone expresses an opinion or a feeling, these people think it's a manipulation. And that's crazy. Your children are not trying to manipulate you necessarily. Every interaction you have, God.
You don't buy into it. And that's why you would reflect truth. Every time. Truth is the liberator. Truth is what allows the person to escape from the enslavement of the lie of distortion.
It's the distortion that's inside of them that's hurting them.
Yes.
And you not holding them accountable is what is going to allow that aggression, that self-attack, to continue to grow.
That's right. So it's not a phase. They don't grow out of it. They just become more skilled at controlling the fear of I'm bad and unworthy. And you don't want that. You want to go right at that stuff. So we have a lovely invitation for you.
So lovely.
We teach a parenting class.
God. We need to meme that too. We teach a parenting class. Okay. The two people who are unaware of their career in life, people who should do literally anything else, these two. We teach a parenting class. Please, God, no. Please, God, no.
And it is so much fun. Jodi and I have been teaching this together many, many, many times. And it is
fun.
Powerful. This is a powerful tool that you want to be involved in. You get one.
No, you don't. Oh, let's look at these people. Everyone, if you see someone you recognize in this video, they may be in danger. Their children may not be okay at home. Just take a look real quick. These people are the ones getting in-person indoctrination in this crap, apparently.
You get...
Good luck. I hope they got undoctrinated from this and have, seen the light that this is not the way to go.
One-on-one, you get a book, you understand the
300
difference.
pages.
You learn the difference between how do I hold my account.
We should hold her accountable because cutting people off while they're speaking is very rude. You need to sit in the corner for 7 hours at least and think about what you just did there, Jodi. I'm helping you. This is a help. That was manipulative by cutting her off. Rude.
My kid accountable in control? Is that a thing? And how do I do it in truth? There is a lot of information for you in this class.
This is the long lost guide to parenting. Like, there's not a book out there in the world that teaches you how to parent inside truth, because a lot of people.
Good. Let's keep it that way. I don't think it's working.
People don't have any idea that there are only two positions of parenting: distorted parenting or truthful parenting.
Yeah, if you went to therapy, they would say, there's many shades of gray in life. There's many good things and many bad things. It's not all black and white. No, these people are like, no, there is only one and two. It's either right or wrong. And what I choose is right. Okay, always.
And we want to share with you how to empower you and then teach those little youngsters that you love so much how to actually govern their life. So when they launch into the world, they can handle anything that comes towards them because they have these beautiful tools called truthful principles. And they can plug them in to any experience that they have. And then if they can't figure something out in the world, they call you. And because you live in truth, you're just another witness. You just reinforce, like, yeah, that is distorted. I can see why you're upset about that. And then you give them some options of like, here's an option in truth. Here's an option in truth. You might want to try that and call back in a week and let us.
It's called controlling your children. It's giving them your opinion that may or may not be applicable to what they're asking or what their life entails. Great. So control helicopter mom sounds like.
Know how you governed yourself. It's beautiful. People rave about this class. It is so, so powerful. So we look forward to meeting you.
Yeah, they're ranting and raving about it. Stop. You're hurting me. Don't. That's the ranting and raving.
In person, and teaching you how to become an empowered parent where you learn how to center yourself in principles of truth and then share those with your youngsters.
So to sign up for the class, just go to connectionsclassroom.com and you'll see a place where you can sign up. And also be sure you're following us on Instagram.
No. No, thanks. Okay.
At Connections Coach.
All right. So that was one video called The Root Issue Behind Your Child's Acting Out Behavior. And that root issue was fear that they are not good enough, and that fear will land them in prison if you don't punish harshly. Okay. Maybe we should watch Am I a Controlling Mom? Yeah. We also got Awake Parenting. What is your motive for having a child? Well, I'm assuming in Ruby's case, monetizing their life for money is one of the reasons, at least, to having all of the kids. Making an income, yeah, that's probably a motive there. I'm not sure she's in truth in that. I think she's a little distorted on that one. Mommy memes reactions sounds interesting. Do you know where your kid is? Okay. Mommy guilt, fear drives bullying. Mommy memes, self-worth without popularity. When children experience anxiety, what's coming at your kids' back to school series? Okay. Do we have a preference here? Do we want to listen to one or the other? I'm sort of interested in mommy memes, but I think it might be, I don't know what that might be. Let me know. Is any of these sticking out to you that you think might be good? Also, I don't know. I have this like little line of like a square that's around me, but I don't know how to get rid of it. Help me. Maybe blur the background? No. Oh, I'm sorry. There's like a line from my camera. Mommy memes, mommy guilt. I want to see the controlling one. Mommy memes. Let's start with mommy memes because maybe it's this one has 2,000 views and this one has 1,000. Let's do part 2 mommy memes and we'll see. If it's weird, we'll click out of it. Let's start there. I agree. I think that maybe it's lighter. Probably not. Okay, Ruby and Jodi are here to watch mommy memes and then we'll go from there. There's a lot of options here. All right, here we go. And we have ones, these are just parenting ones. There's other ones too. There's ones about like relationships and such. All right, let's see how it goes. Okay, skip that part.
Video. I'm Ruby Franke.
And I'm Jodi Hildebrandt.
So we started making this video and got so into it, we had to make part 2 because we hadn't even showed the memes in part 1. This is a really important topic all about the aggression that is coming toward mothers and toward children from our very selves, mothers ourselves.
Yeah, and that aggression we were talking about is called victim. This unwillingness or inability. I really think most of us don't even know what we are responsible for as a mother and as a woman. So again, perception, emotion, behaviors. Those are the things you're responsible for.
And I think a lot of women go into this victim behavior feeling like they're getting validation, like motherhood really is hard. I really am struggling. And that is true for you. That's been true for me, and I know it's been true for you as well.
Absolutely.
And so we would invite you to approach your challenges as a mother from a healthy perspective, from a truthful perspective. I hope you'll join our private Facebook mom group and get the validation from women who will truly see you and show truth to you. That's the only way you're going to get out of these challenges, is in truth.
Yeah. And when Ruby says get out of them, the challenges of motherhood, the challenges of being a human on the planet, they aren't going to go away. You're just going to learn how to perceive them in truth rather than distortion.
Mm-hmm. So your optional pain is what you're going to be getting out of.
Right.
You're choosing optional pain, whether you know it or not. And most of you don't even know when you go into victim, you're choosing extra pain. And you'll see that presented in these memes, that these mothers are making life harder on themselves than they really need to.
Again, express an emotion that's not, I love everything and everything's perfect. You are manipulating people. You are hurting yourself. You are doing yourself a disservice. Repress, repress, repress. That's truth. Repress every feeling that's not sublime joy. Okay.
Right.
So these memes are really covert ways of being aggressive. And they'll say,
these are people who are accused of, tying the children up and withholding food and, putting their kids in wilderness camps and then they're accusing everyone else of being aggressive. You are the most aggressive people I've ever heard of. My God, against innocent children, little babies that are your own flesh and blood. Like, biologically, you're supposed to want to take care of them. Like, I cannot imagine a more aggressive person that have this personality trait.
Hey, it's an anonymous way to be humorous. Isn't that how you get through life, is through humor? And anyone who comes and objects and says, hey, this isn't appropriate, are deemed a Karen. Now, Karen is a new term for Jodi.
I didn't know what that meant.
That's because she doesn't have bratty high school children who turn around and call their moms Karens when held accountable. But a Karen...
So her high school children are bratty. Okay, she's been called a Karen by her high school children because that's what you are, Ruby. You are the biggest Karen, again, I've ever heard of in my life. You are in the dictionary, Karen comes up, your photo's there, screaming at your kids about Christmas. They're taking their Christmas away because they were, asking about... What is Santa's clothes? How dare you? Santa wears a red suit, you idiot. Taking it away from you. I don't know why she took away Christmas, but they're going to define Karen for us. Thank you so much. Oh, wait, I don't know if it popped up yet, but it came up on my screen. Thank you again to MB. Thank you so much, MB. MB says, why is the bench top so big with the actual kitchen so small? Well, we'll have to go back for a second to see. Yeah, it's like their bar. I think this is like their basement bar. And so they're supposed to probably be like bar stools. And then they have the couch in front of it. And then they're like, let's just film here. Let's just indoctrinate from the comfort of our basement. We're not going to put in the wet bar. We're just going to do our indoctrination, child parenting garbage. Perfect. They sell the house to pay the legal bills. They'll be like, this you could use this as your podcast indoctrination cult studio, which it was used for before, or have a polka party, play Wii, whatever you decide. Either one's fine with us. So I'm assuming that's why, MB, but good question. And on that note, I say
18.
Oh God, I clicked the wrong one again. Okay, R.I.P. Dave. I say this one.
Do you see things the way I do, or do you see them wrongly?
That's Elizabeth Koch again. And this one also.
The mango frequency.
Yes, this is what these ladies need. The mango frequency. By God. Okay, here we go.
Karens when held accountable. But a Karen is a derogatory term used towards mothers who hold their kids accountable.
Oh, is that what it is? I don't think that's what it is, Karen.
And
it's a very Karen thing of you to say.
Really, it's projecting you're controlling, you're obnoxious, you're ridiculous, you're a
Rigid.
joke, you're rigid.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That is what a Karen is. And it is not kind. So if your name is Karen out there, I am so sorry.
So sorry. I mean, how silly that some human, probably was a teenager, that decided.
Why do they hate teenagers so much? Were they like losers in high school? Like that's why they're like, oh, teenagers are the meanest people who have ever walked the earth. They just hate kids so much. It's so bizarre.
To mock and denigrate the title of a woman, a mother, who is doing her job and holding her kids accountable.
This is the most Karen segment I've ever heard in my life. Wow. A bratty teenager definitely is behind this horrible thing that no one would understand. It's like, give these people a break.
So we support you. Not only are they saying this isn't powerful, they want you to give them equal power. Your kids want the same kind of authority
Equality.
and
Wow.
position that you have. And many of us as mothers and fathers will hand our authority over to the kid because of fear of being called a Karen or fear of not being a good mother or a good father. And that is playing right into the victimization of what's going on in our world. Like, you have a responsibility. You are not a victim to your child, but you feel victimized by them. And consequently, your children feel victimized by you. But the reality is, there is no victimization going on here. This is children not understanding where their position is in their home, and parents not understanding their position in their home.
Yeah, in these memes, you'll see that these moms are sacrificing their bodies, they're sacrificing their time, they're sacrificing their careers.
Are they not? That's a distortion? Okay. Tell me how it's not. What's going on? Oh, it doesn't take time. It doesn't take a body. It doesn't take, time away from your career. That's not true. That's not true.
They're sacrificing for their children. Yet, if you're complaining and murmuring, it is not a sacrifice.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
What? If you complain, it's no longer a sacrifice. Yeah, that seems normal. That seems good. That seems like a healthy thing to think. Yeah, and to teach other people.
So this is the seed bed where, in a very hidden way.
Yeah, they already did a whole video where they didn't show the memes. Now it's been 4.5 minutes in. I've not seen a meme yet.
You despise your children, like you resent them. You could even say you hate being a mother. You may not want to say that out loud, or you may feel fear about saying that out loud, but your behaviors of all of this upset and this, I like the word murmuring, all of this complaining is the evidence that you don't like, want, enjoy that over there.
Literally, how did we introduce the thing about Karen? She goes, well, Jodi doesn't have bratty teenagers who call their mother a Karen because they're holding them accountable. Okay, that's not murmuring about motherhood's ups and downs. So you're saying that you don't want to be moms. Like, we already know that, obviously. We already know that given the subtext here. But I think they're just not aware that like what they're doing within this video shows and displays exactly what they're accusing these other people of doing. God, my Lord. Okay, MB, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Wait, whoa, I made you giant. Let me make you long. Okay. MB says they are so bland. I don't think they've experienced anything outside of their own sphere. They have no concept of real life, but they know that board game anger always leads to prison because that's what they learned on television at some point. Some television show that they watched in Utah told them that, and now they believe it. I don't know. I agree. I think this is a very, I don't know where this comes from. I'm assuming their parents messed them up, and now here they are to mess up their kids. Also, the indoctrinating religion, I think, that's very strict, kind of lends itself to that. The making money from exploiting the children has worked out financially for them, adds more confirmation bias to all of this. So, and I think the smaller their world, the more that they can put it out there for people to consume, and it seems to work. So sticking to like a rigid plan and having a brand identity is as messed up as it is, I think sometimes does benefit the person financially in these spaces of like content creation. So I think it would not benefit them on YouTube for them to get an outside perspective and go, let me like maybe not be so crazy, maybe not be so strict. No, like the algorithm feeds on the same thing. So they're going to keep doing the same thing, which is like this extreme disciplinarian mom got her to be millions of dollars. I think that's part of it, I suppose. So thank you, MB. Once again, thank you so much. You are hooking me up. I am going to be in Australia tonight at this rate. Thank you. What is this one? Aliens? What about this one?
I'm sorry that you don't have a job.
Thanks, Dave. What about this one?
Jeez, this is so good.
That's what you guys are saying about the stream. And if you want to like the stream, please like the stream. And you can be liked. Not like a Karen. You'll be the opposite of a Karen if you like the stream. Let's listen to these two Karens again. Thanks, MP.
There. And these are your children.
Well, yeah. And what it really is I don't want the responsibility of my child. So perhaps you love your child and you don't like the responsibility that comes with your child. And so you are devaluing as you are going into this crude humor about your position and devaluing children. And that's the seedbed.
Yeah. Show it.
Children today are being, the things that are going on with children is horrific, from trafficking to how we use them to how we're objectifying children. We're not keeping them safe in our.
Is that a confession? Judge, we have it. We've got it. She said it right in this video called Mommy Memes Part 2. No need to have a court trial. She just admitted all the things that are wrong here. Yeah, I'm with you for once, Ruby. You do all those things for sure. My God.
Job as a mother is to keep them safe and to protect them. And when we position ourselves as victims, we're not in a position to be powerful and to protect.
Mm-hmm. And many of you may say, I don't know what to do, Jodi. I really do love my children and I resent them at the same time. And I don't know how to be responsible to help them. I don't know what principles of truth are. And I know there's many mothers that are out there saying that, like, I don't know.
Sure.
That was not given to me from my parents. Nobody taught me how to live principles of truth. And so for those of
So that's why you're angry. That's why you are here, right? My parents didn't do, okay, yeah, that's how this all starts. We know.
You who are being very sincere and you're saying, I don't want to despise them. I don't want to feel resentment towards them. We're here to help you because we know that motherhood and being an authority to a little person is very difficult. And we want to help you. And can we give you all the answers right here in this video? No.
Welcome.
But that's why we've set up this Facebook group. That's why we have connections. There's so many interventions and modalities that you can engage in on connectionsclassroom.com. So come over and listen and watch what we have to give to you, to teach you. It's interesting to me is that as I've talked to parents and children alike, the parents will resent the kids and the kids will resent the parents.
For sure.
And so it's going both directions. And it's because both beings, the parent and the child, do not understand their roles and responsibilities. As a child, your role is to follow adults that are in truth. That's your role as a child. And children, I mean, I don't know, probably 15 years ago, I remember kids started calling me by my first name instead of Mrs. Hildebrandt. And it really surprised me because when I was raised, I called everybody Mr. or Mrs. They had a title, they had a distinction between them and me of authority. And in today's world, it's like,
The good old days when we called each other by our last names. That's what I wish we had in this world. That would solve all the problems if people just called me by my last name. That's what would heal society. We have gone from respect to people calling me by my first name. By the way, my name is Jodi. You should just put it on your title card that your name is Mrs. Hildebrandt. God, what a Karen thing to say. It's the most Karen thing ever, too. People used to call each other Mrs. and Mr., and now we just call first names. I hate it. This sucks. I grew up for nothing.
No. That's going to shame them.
Don't call me Mrs. Franke. That's my mother-in-law's name. Call me Ruby.
Right. And so what it's doing, it sounds like it's really friendly and a positive thing, but really what it's doing is it's devaluing the title of her authority.
And then we wonder why children don't respond to us as we want them to. They're not taking us seriously as parents.
So you want your kids to call you Mrs. Franke? I don't get it. God, is mom too casual? Like Mrs. Mother? Like, what do you want? That we're talking about our own children. Are you talking about indoctrinating other kids in the community? Like, who are you interacting with on a daily basis, you weirdos? KT, thank you so much. KT says, came in late. How did these two find each other? Ruby looks like a hostage. I don't know. I'm assuming somehow through the Mormon church, I'm guessing. But if someone knows the answer, I would be interested to know. I think she came into her life later on, I believe. I don't think they're like best friends from childhood, but I could be wrong. But probably Ruby went, my guess would be Ruby went to her for help because she's got 6 kids and a vlog and a lot of problems emotionally. And then that was just a horrible interaction, meaning like Jodi saw, oh, this woman's got a platform. Let me use her and abuse her, manipulate her perhaps, or like they can manipulate each other and distortion all day. I would guess, but I'm not actually sure. And whatever, probably a Karen meeting would be my second guess. The National Karen Society, the NKS, they meet every year in Salt Lake City for the annual review of what they're pissed about right now. How much which Starbucks barista was the worst this year? They give them an award. She didn't say thank you when I said thank you. Oh my God. This minimum wage worker did not go above and beyond. I am outraged. Just different sessions about Starbucks interactions. Anyways, thank you so much, KT. And I say this.
You probably have parasites.
You probably have parasites. Not. And MB, thank you so much, MB. Again, you're killing the game of my bank account. Thank you so much. MB says, you earn authority. It's not given. Also, I hope I'm not being creepy with all the super chats. I've just watched so much of your content and never been able to donate because of the time difference. So I feel you deserve it. Oh, thank you. I guess I should come on Saturdays more or look up the time zone in Arizona and Australia to give the Australian audience a fair shot to be indoctrinated by me and not by someone else. And for that I say,
if I were to die, it would probably be choking on broccoli.
True. Hasn't everyone always been there? And also, let's also just do one clear. Just start the day fresh.
Clear.
Oh, thank you, MB. Whew. Okay. There you go. Back to it. We're 8 minutes in, still no memes. Not one meme.
They're not taking us seriously as leaders. And mothers have become a joke.
Yeah.
The brunt of a lot of jokes.
Yeah. And so have fathers. Fathers have become completely devalued in our society. We don't need fathers. We don't need mothers either.
Yeah. Fathers have been portrayed as silly, dumb, incapable, and
by whom? Give me an example. Show me a meme of this, please. I don't believe it just by your account. Unless you're the one who's doing it on your vlog, because I don't have that distorted perception or perception at all. Generally, I'm curious as to where they got that idea from.
The movies and the commercials. Okay, so here is the first meme.
Finally.
When you just want to sleep, but you are a mom.
Oh my God, the most boomer meme I've ever seen in my life. This is what we were waiting for? This is what the memes that took 2 videos to get to. Oh my God. That's everyone on it right now. I wish it was a minion meme. It was the same exact thing, but it was a minion with the dark circles. Then I would be laughing.
So how's this victim, Jodi?
Yeah. Well, as you look at that picture, do you see how her eyes are bulging? Her eyes are red and irritated.
Yes, you idiots. We see it. That's what a meme is. We see it.
She looks disconnected. It's like, I wouldn't want to come into the room and my mother look like this. Like, hello, I'm your mother.
She looks scary.
Yeah, she does. And
It's a cartoon.
many of you will jump into the other side of distortion and say, well, am I supposed to look beautiful and happy and gregarious all the time? I mean,
Yes.
please don't go there. We're not saying do the opposite of this. We're trying to point out that these pictures are giving us permission as women, as mothers, to be a victim to our children. That's what we're trying to get you to see.
Yeah, instead, in truth, it would be, I was able to get up at 3 a.m. and nurse my baby. I was...
Shut the fuck up. I get up at 4 a.m. to nurse my baby. God. Nobody gets up like me. Memes are not funny. Any meme that I find relatable is not relatable at all.
Most people won't get up at 4 a.m.
Most people won't get up at 4 a.m. to nurse their baby. Most people won't get up at 5 a.m. to look at Disney memes, Princess Aurora memes, and make a video about it. Most people won't do that. True. And thank God for that.
It is a privilege and an honor to protect my child and to sustain their needs while they need.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a privilege and an honor, but apparently you haven't been feeding your kids past the nursing stage that much, or at least not enough, according to the police reports. So maybe you should get another meme and think about it.
Exactly. It is a sacred obligation to your child that you're willing to get up and have that time with them. You're only going to be nursing them for just a few months out of the course of their years. And so having that quiet time with them is, I mean,
sacred.
It really is.
Okay, their message thus far: don't complain about anything. If you're a child, if you're a woman, unless it's them, they can complain all the day about, oh, their children are not in truth or whatever. That's fine. That's okay. You can, correct everyone else's behavior except for them. Yeah, everyone else is the problem.
Wish I would have been more awake as I was rearing my children, especially in their earlier years.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so here's another one. Shopping with kids, how it looked.
Where do they find this? They made this. I've never seen this. This is not a real meme. They search how to make meme, and this is what popped up. Real tough dad, that's fake. That's not real. This is so stupid. It looks like a child, but it's actually a bomb. Okay. That's how they do see children. Dangerous, prison, forthcoming. This is how they perceive children.
Versus how it feels.
Wow.
Yeah,
so how it looks, you've got the mom smiling and the child, and then how it feels is the kid is a bomb ready to go off. I never know what they're going to do, how they're going to respond. Well, guess what? That is the truth around you too. You were once one of those little ones in a cart, and someone called your mother or your father took you to stores. And how sad it would be if they thought about you as a bomb ready to go off.
Well, this just highlights the...
You literally said a kid getting upset about losing a game is headed to prison. What? I just think that they don't like anyone else. That's what I've decided. They don't like anyone else. They're the only ones allowed to have opinions in this world. God damn it.
Fear that mothers are having toward their children.
Yeah.
I am scared of my child.
Right. And I want to control them, and I can't control them, and I resent it.
Yeah,
I'm walking on eggshells because they might go off at any moment. And the reality is, children are little people learning how to be grown-up people. And it's your responsibility to teach them how to go to the grocery store.
Mom and a bomb.
You can teach a child how to go to the grocery store and show up in truth. Mm-hmm. You absolutely can. Even at that age, that little baby looks about 1.5. You can teach them. And this is called boundaries.
Yeah, that's right.
All of us have gone to the store where our kids have.
Okay. 1.5-year-old's going to learn the concept of boundaries. Please elaborate, because I think they're basically like blah, 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 like at that age. Am I wrong? Are they functioning yet? I don't think so.
Have thrown a fit. And, I didn't know a lot of these principles, but just intuitively, I think I did fairly well. I'd pick them up, I would talk to them, I'd explain, and if they continued to choose to act out, I would say, okay, we're going to leave. And, then people will say, well, but I need to go shopping. It's like, well, you're going to need to go at another time, because setting that boundary for this child is so much more important than you getting the noodles that you need for dinner tonight.
Yeah. So maybe their children just, are so horribly behaved, they can never make it to the grocery store. That's why all the kids are not fed. Okay. They're going to use this in court now against the accusations of malnourishment. They're like, I was living in truth. I couldn't go to the grocery store because this meme was so offensive to me. My God.
You have something else. You can have PB&J or something. This message that you're sending to your child is critical for them to understand that this is not how, it's not all right for you to show up in the store like this.
Well, and can I just let the viewers know who don't know you, Jodi, was a single mom. She was doing this all on her own.
Okay. Here we go. So she's got stress and issues. So let's take it out on the kids. Okay. Got it.
And so I know the sacrifice it takes to hold boundaries. Well, I don't know, but I've heard you share how.
I don't know. Other losers I've heard on the internet have to deal with this issue. I don't know. I have a loving husband who's the best, but this bitch over here, she's got issues. I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. I don't mean that, but I was like, not me. That's not my situation. Even though I think it is now. I think she's also a single mom, technically. Single mom, meaning that she's not with her husband, I think, anymore. MB, thank you, MB. My biggest fan, MB. Thank you. MB says, they're so scared of children. Maybe we need to put 1,000 toddlers in front of them so they can face their fears and hold themselves accountable for their emotions. Yes, I think we need to do I took care of 1,000 children challenge on YouTube. We make it a prank channel, and that's what they can do. And then they can profit and also come over their fears or overcome their fears. This is the
you have to think instead of sitting around eating Skittles and watching Oprah reruns.
Okay, that's basically the male Karen is Dave Ramsey, the male Karen. Here you go. This is what I have to say.
It's bad because it's stupid and you're normal.
Yeah, that's what I have to say to these people. This is all normal emotions and normal things, and you're making it way worse than it is. So, good job, guys. Thanks, MB. I don't know why I keep calling them guys. I don't know why. Twinsies? That's what, twins. Karen, twin Karens. This is how it works. All right, here we go. Back to it.
Oh,
we've seen 2 memes so far, though. The worst memes I've ever seen.
Yeah. Difficult it is to hold boundaries with children. When a single mom, you might get out to the grocery store and have one shot at it for the whole week.
Yeah.
So to choose to take your child home is a huge sacrifice, and you're putting the need of the child learning boundaries over
them eating. No, we need to get this part in court too. This is their mentality. No, if that happens, buy the food. Buy your children food and buy yourself food. That is not worth teaching them a boundary at 1-year-old. God.
Getting the noodles for dinner that night.
Exactly. And when Ruby says that, I never felt like I was a victim to my children. And I'm not saying like good for me, but what I am saying is that I looked at my responsibilities very seriously of I've got 18 years to train and teach and model and exemplify characteristics that will lead these kids into adulthood in order for them to be successful. When I say success, I don't mean money. I mean that they have empathy, that they're validating, that they're willing to be vulnerable, that they're honest, that they're responsible. I would say to my kids, if you grow up and you have no character, I have failed you as a mother.
If you grow up.
I said that to him.
If you grow up. What do you mean, if you grow up? I guess she's saying, if you grow up and don't have character, I failed you. Okay.
This is the time they were 2. That's the only thing that's important to me. I don't care the kind of money you make or what your position in life is.
Yeah, right.
Your character is the only thing that matters to me. And if you walk out of this home and you have little to none, I haven't done my job, or you've rejected it.
I'm sure she's going to lean towards the latter. But you've rejected it. I've done my job. I actually run a course about this, so it can't be me.
Okay, so here's the next meme. Feeling guilty about your kids watching too much TV? Just mute it and put the captions on. Boom. Now they're reading.
We don't want our children to read because then they'll leave and they'll read about the truth, actually, that this indoctrination is not that great. We don't want our children to have education, really. We want to give them diagrams that say truth, 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 and perception and random nonsense to keep them confused so we can control them. We don't want our children to read.
Look at this little kid sitting here on the counter with a bucket of ice cream, and the mom's hiding behind a board.
Okay, she's holding this sign up. You wackadoodle.
Mm-hmm. And she's got the kid up equal to her, equal position with her. Look who's ruling the household here. And she's going into rationalizing and making a joke about holding boundaries with her kids. So here's a mom and victim right here.
Mm-hmm. And she's...
What? I gotta look at this again. Okay, we're at 14, 17. I gotta look at this freaking meme again. What? Okay, the kid's at the same level. Bad. Okay, the kid's eating ice cream. Bad. The mom's hiding. Bad. And why is she scared of the kid? Because of the sign. I don't get it.
With a bucket of ice cream, and the mom's hiding behind a board. Look who's ruling into... Here's a mom and victim right here.
Mm-hmm. And she's...
There's a mom that seems fairly normal. Oh my God. Call the alarm. Sound the alarm. A other woman making a choice? Oh, I would have the only thing I have a problem with that meme is showing the kid. Take the kid off of it. That's my concern, not about what it represents in any way.
Saying, hey, I'm going to teach them how to read. We'll just turn on the TV and then I'll force them to read because they want to be stimulated by the images that are coming on.
Ladies, have you ever heard of a joke? Have you ever heard of a joke? What do you think meme stands for? What do you think a meme is? Do you have any comprehension of that? You ever heard of a joke? No, not in our sphere. We are non-funny Karens.
Instead of turning the TV off, here's what you could do in truth. We're turning the TV off. The TV is only on at certain times during the month, not the day, but the month. And you're going to learn how to do other things. You're going to learn how to be creative, draw, color, build things, read, play musical instruments.
Good for you. Oh, cool. Amazing. Great.
Engage your time and your energy doing things that will stick.
Oh, wow. You made a choice about your kids and other people make a choice about their kids. Cool. What a concept. Thank you, Angela. Angela Arnold. Welcome. Angela Arnold says, thanks for exercising my dog. Sent another IG DM. Oh, you want me to check my DMs? I will do that. And you're welcome. I don't know how I exercise your dog, but I'm glad to do it. It takes it's a professional person. Okay. Oh, that's so cute. Misha, the dog, is a big fan of the mouse that comes up on the screen. She always follows it. I'll share that later on Instagram so everyone can see what I'm talking about. Okay, thanks, Angela Arnold. I love that. Thank you for sharing that with me. And for that, I say...
People want their news from flawless, beautiful faces.
And also...
Network marketers fail at everything.
True. Thanks, Angela. All right. More memes. We need more memes.
Stimulate your brain.
And when you do that, you are going to see the aggression in your child come out, because this woman is putting this little girl who looks really calm right here because she's getting what she wants. She's got the ice cream what she wants. She's sitting up high where she wants, and she's watching the TV that she wants. When you set boundaries, your child is going to, the monster in them is going to come out. And it's the monster you as the mom created. And so you're scared of what you've just created in your child.
Unless they reject it, which in that case, don't take no responsibility. In our case. In their case, if their kids turn out bad, no responsibility. They rejected the teachings. But if other parents end up with a kid that's bad, well, that was your fault. Cool.
And so you can do this. I mean, get courageous. Hold that boundary. Address the monster in the child that you have encouraged through stuff like this.
Yeah.
You have an obligation to do this for your child.
And if you don't know how to do this, this is where you come on Facebook and talk with us, and we can help you and guide you and give you the supportive community that you need.
Okay, so here's a meme of a...
Okay, wait, before we do that. Thank you, Philly turned Texan, for joining the membership. Thank you so much. And also, thank you to JB. It's going to pop up in a second, but JB says, trying to find out why Jodi is single. She's fun. Can you imagine being on a first date? You ever heard of a joke? Yeah, I really hate those. What are you looking for? I'm looking for a sense of humor. And by sense of humor, I mean absolutely not understanding that, something on the internet that's staged is not a direct representation of what their actual life is. What's your favorite color? Yeah, I don't know. She ain't gonna, maybe she'll find a girlfriend in jail. I don't know. You ever see the documentary where they people in prison, I don't know if it's, I think it's jail. I don't think it's prison. They can date through the toilets. Do you ever see this? Where they clear the water, they drain the water in the toilets, and then you can put a paper towel roll in the toilet, and then you can communicate with the other floors in the jail, in this one jail. I don't know where it is, but they start dating, and they can send each other notes and things through the toilet. They figured out the toilet system, but they really are dating. They're that's my boyfriend. This is my girlfriend. We are dating through the toilet. So maybe they can do that. Maybe they can do that while they're spending some time behind bars, thinking about their issues. Thanks, JP. And for that, I say,
I love selling stuff online.
Thanks, Jay Shetty.
Barbie doll that is, it shows before kids having one kid and two kids.
This is a direct insult to me because I have 6 children, so I must be hideous. That's why I'm offended. Okay, let's see what they have to say. Let's see, guys, what they have to say.
I've never seen a meme so accurate for my life as this. So you see the timeline as she has children. Instead of becoming more refined, she's becoming a mess.
Yeah, she looks, this visual.
So first of all, it's a doll. This is not a real woman who is posting herself look. First one was Aurora from Disney. Okay, Sleeping Beauty. This one is a doll, and they don't seem to differentiate between real life photos and images. Probably because they've never watched TV before. So they don't know the difference between fake and real.
These visual images of she looks like she's ready to die. Okay. I mean, her eyes and the pulling down of her face, that children create this in you. And there's just no truth in that. This is why our...
This is so serious. I can't. How can you be so serious about a Barbie meme? We need a Minion meme before this show's over. We need a Minion meme that they need to react to with all seriousness. Okay, where it says banana here, I am just not okay with that. Bananas have a lack of potassium, and it just, it's not okay. Okay. I think you're missing the point here. Thank you, Mojo Jules. Thank you so much, Mojo Jules. Mojo Jules says, that sounds like a shit relationship. A relationship, you may say. Yeah, that sounds like a good time. But you know what? Could be worse, I guess. There could be a worse scenario on a dating app, I guess. if you communicate through the toilets, at least you're really bonding. At least you're hearing their voice. At least you know where they are at all times. You can trust them, that they're not leaving to do anything shady. So, hey, some people would go for that. Trust me. Some people would be fine with that. Okay, what is this? Oh, this is what I have to say about this Mojo Jules. It's the perfect soundbite.
I do number 2.
That Jenna Kutcher doing a number 2. Okay. Thank you. Back to the Barbie memes.
Kids don't feel loved. Are these kind of things. Like, I did this to you. I caused this in you. I created this in you. Instead of seeing a woman who is like, I am full of life and I love you. And yes, things are difficult. And yes, you do things that I'm not ready to manage. And I'm here to guide and protect and teach you along the way. These are messages of, you're going to kill me. And that, I mean, whoa, no, there's nobody here that is going to kill you. This is, I don't know how to do things that are hard. That's really what this is. Mm-hmm. Here's this person at the beginning, before kids, and she's bright and she's got, all the attention's on her, and she can do whatever she wants, and she sleeps as long as she wants, and she does whatever she wants, and she can have whatever she wants. And then she gets tied down with children. And really what it's saying is, I don't know how to do hard. I don't want to do hard. I've never had to do hard. This is not something that I enjoy. And it's like, okay, well, if you don't want that kind of life, then do not have children. Children are there not to make things hard for you.
Amen. Tell yourself that 6 kids ago. God, both of you. This is, to me, the most obvious thing. Anyone who abuses their kid should not have kids, obviously. And it's not because, I think that I don't look as good because I have kids. That's who shouldn't have kids. People who do this type of shit and are accused of what they're accused of doing should not have kids. That's who should not have kids. Not people who are being honest about, I don't look as good because I'm a lot busier with 2 kids and my hair is a mess. God.
But they're there to create growth and development inside you, and to become wise and awake and present. That's what children can offer.
This is a woman who doesn't want to put herself aside to serve another. This is a woman who is resentful of, I have to put the needs of my children before mine. Mm-hmm. And then we wonder why our children resent us.
Yeah, exactly.
Why don't you ask your children why they resent you?
All of these memes have a very similar base, and it is, I either, one, don't want to be responsible for being a parent, or I don't know how.
So as I hear these memes, I think...
As I hear these memes, what memes are you hearing? If you're hearing memes, seek psychiatric care, as she would say herself. I don't need it, but I'm going to force my child to go.
20 years ago, people weren't talking like this. They may have talked amongst themselves, but it wasn't this expansive understanding because there wasn't social media to like throw these kind of feelings and these kind of images out into the world. You manage them. I woke up many nights. In fact, I think it's just now that I've been able to sleep 8 hours, and I'm 50. And so from the time, you've got a solid 30, 40 years, depending how many kids you have, where you're going to, you're voluntarily saying, I will sacrifice to help this little soul grow into this charactered adult. I mean, how awesome is that? I get emotional when
that meme and our... Now, the next meme, a crying child goes hungry because her mom won't bring her lunch. Yeah, they would laugh hysterically, like, oh my God, that's so funny. It's so true. Oh, so relatable. That's me. That's me. I've never sound more relatable meme in my life. That would be their reaction.
I think about it. I love children, and I want to do everything in my power to raise them and rear them and exemplify what being a charactered, loving, connected human looks like. So when I look at these memes, I think, oh my goodness, I'm willing to do hard. And maybe some of you are willing to do hard. You just don't know how to do hard. You don't know how to be responsible when it's hard. Maybe you need more support. Maybe you need a place where you can call, or a place like you can get online, like this Facebook group that we have, where you can write in your questions and say, I feel like I'm
Let's plug the Facebook
drowning, help, and we will be there. And other mothers around the world will be there to support you, so that you can then say, okay, I'm heard, I'm seen, I can move forward with this. This is a sacred obligation and opportunity I have to share truth with a little person.
Mm-hmm. This is an invitation to you. This is what you have been praying for.
Yeah.
I know what it's like to not have these skills. I have been a mom for 19 years and just learning this. In fact, my oldest no longer lives with us, and I wish I had these skills when she was living in the home. And so grateful that I have them now. It's never too late. Even if you have adult children, it is never too late to learn these tools, these principles, and to have the
adult. What are you going to do with adult children? Learn these principles? What, to harass them via text message? Like, what do you need to learn it now?
support. No one else can be your child's mother. You are the mom, and there is power in that. And we can help you feel the power in that, instead of saying, I am the mom, and going, oh, I'm the mom, I feel responsible for everything. Instead, for you to be able to say, I'm the mom. And
I love being the mom.
Yeah.
Even if you don't like me being the mom, I love being the mom.
What a beautiful place to be.
Yes.
And you can get there. Be sure and...
Oh, Lord. I think they're not self-aware. They're out of touch. Yikes. Okay, let's watch one more. I got one more in me. We got parenting, or do we want to do... Hold on. We got parenting, and then we also have the other ones. Maybe we should go away from parenting for a second, or maybe we stay in parenting. I don't know. I don't want the back to school story. I just want the connections regular. I want the regular connections. Oh, look, we can go for 2 cents to a couples conference. Yay! That's in my budget. Okay, videos. Let's do it. Oh yeah, this one's a weird one, but many people have talked about this one too, where she's like, her daughter, her school was gonna have a TikTok dance, and they don't like the song, and she was hysterically like upset and crying, which I think you're not supposed to do. In truth, you're supposed to act with no emotion. So she screwed up. Okay, let's see. We got principles of mental fitness, or we got the back to school series. I guess we should just confronting the school system. Oh my God. Should schools be endorsing TikTok? I don't know. Standing up at the school board. Oh Lord. Okay, this is the husband. We should look into that again at some point. Why I left 8 passengers. This was 42 weeks ago. That's interesting. Mommy memes part 1, but we know there's no memes in that one. Okay, we can look at some short ones, or what do you think? What are you guys thinking? Which one do you want to watch? I'm seeing controlling. Okay, let's watch the controlling one. Let's see. Oh, let's go back to that one. I think it makes sense to focus on the parenting. Am I a controlling mom? Okay. This one's a little longer, so this will be the final one, and maybe we can come back and do another update, because I do want to listen to the podcast with the daughter Sherry, and maybe watch some more of this if they don't delete it at some point. So let's watch it, and then we'll wrap.
Welcome back to Connections. I'm Ruby Franke.
I'm Jodi Hildebrandt.
And today is part 3 of a series that we are doing all about empowering you as parents. You are not going to get this kind of empowerment. You're not going to give this kind of permission anywhere else. And so today we are going to be talking about where we left off, which is, am I a controlling parent? Am I a hovering helicopter parent? Am I a Karen? Those are terms that have been put out there by people who are
I think the answer is yes.
fearful of control. And we are breaking down what is controlling, what's not controlling. So if you missed our other video, which is all about motives, go back and check out part 2. And today we're going to be breaking down the actions, the choices that follow. So in the last video, we broke down, you have experiences as a parent. Your child wakes up, your child feeds himself breakfast, your
child feeds themselves breakfast. That sounds like a personal thing for you, Ruby, as we know. She does not like to feed her kids, so her children are expected to feed themselves breakfast. Okay, that's a choice and not a universal truth.
child needs a ride to school. Your kid comes home and he cries because there's bullying on the bus. All of these are experiences, and you, the parent, are in this experience now with your child. And so the experience comes first, and then you proceed to project your motives, your perceptions onto the experience. And then your feelings will follow. So if you have controlling motives, you're going to feel these emotions that are really uncomfortable.
Yeah, it'll be the energy that drives your motives. If you have a perception, if my son comes home and says, so-and-so was bullying me, and I am a parent that I don't know about principles of truth, I may go to, well, I'm going to protect them, and I'm going to go over, and where's that kid that hit you? And I'm going to go hit him. I've seen parents do that. Or
no, you haven't. You've never seen a parent do that, Jodi. Give me a break.
I'm going to go to the school and demand that my child is no longer in the same class, no longer in the same school with this particular person. And, depending on what the kid did, that might be absolutely reasonable. But if you're not being governed by principles of truth, then your motives are going to be in distortion, and who knows the kind of reactions that you're going to have. And so this is an invitation for you and me and Ruby and everyone else in the world that is interacting with children. And it's not just for children, but we're talking about kids. But this is about all of your relationships. You paying attention. What do I perceive when I have an experience? Do I perceive in distortion or do I perceive in truth?
Yeah, and that's a great example of the bus. So that mom who's perceiving in distortion, she's going into control and she's demanding that her kid be taken out of this classroom of this mean bully. Well, can you ask for your child to be removed out of a class in truth? Yeah.
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
I have no idea what they were going to say. Like, of course not. Could have also been an answer because I don't get what truth is still. I'm still confused. I'm not ready for the truth.
I've had that.
I can't handle the truth, I meant to say.
Experience where I knew what my motive was. I knew where to surrender. I knew that
that's a principle of truth, surrender, by the way.
And I knew what I was going to do depending on what the teacher said. And
she knew what she was responsible for.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Yes. And in that moment, removing my child out of that classroom was the responsible thing to do.
Yeah. Let's give you a list.
So was that a real example? Because I don't think that fits in with anything else they've said. There's like, well, I did it, so it's okay. I don't get it.
List, and this is no means all of the list of characteristics of distortion and characteristics of truth, or what we call principles of truth. So let's start with distortion first. So because I perceive, and then I feel, and then I act, the acting, if I'm in distortion, remember distortion means deception. It means I'm not in reality.
Boring.
I'm not able to synthesize everything that's going on and keep it in honest, responsible, and humble. I don't know how to do that. I don't even know that that's a thing. And so if that's where I'm sitting, I will take my action and I will attempt to control. Okay. So control is the behavior that I engage in. And then there's like a bajillion ways to control. Like you could use pretty much anything in a controlling manner, which means
duct tape, food, Christmas. Yeah, we know. Bean bags, where you sleep on a bed or not.
A distorted manner, which means a deceptive manner, which means I perceived not in reality. Do you see all that? You got to be aware of all that. Now you might want to turn us off, like this is too hard. Click. Don't turn us off. As you learn to do this, it will become second nature. I don't know about you, but I don't even, my soul lets me know if I'm off, if I'm in distortion, because I have chosen.
It didn't in this case. It didn't let you know. The police let you know, but you don't think your soul did. Thank you, Anna Marie Fella. Hello. Thank you so much. Anna Marie Fella says, parents watched this and thought this is gold straight up. I mean, I guess. I don't know. This video, let's see, was viewed on Facebook 566 times. So 566 people / bots may have witnessed this video on Facebook at least. So I don't know. Maybe no one saw it. I'm not sure how successful this company was. I know the YouTube vlog was very successful, but the rest, I don't know. I'm not sure. And for that I say, this.
You're not freaking fine.
And also, but of course, since it's in the comment.
This is gold, straight up.
Craig. Oh my God. I love Craig. Thank you.
Chosen so many times in the truth that when I don't choose truth, my spirit's like, you're off. But when I didn't know how to do that, I didn't get those kind of indicators. I felt fear a lot. Probably most of the time I felt fear. Like, am I right? Am I wrong? I don't know what to do. What do you think? Well, you told me this and I don't know if is that right? And we get into this. Is this right? Is this wrong? And I would invite you to get away from is this right or is this wrong? Because that confuses you.
Yeah.
Instead, replace right and wrong with distortion or truth. That will be less confusing.
Is this okay to do?
Yes. Go to, is this in truth or is this in distortion?
Is that what it said?
When my son comes and says I was bullied, I don't just react. Reaction is a behavior of control.
Yeah, you're very fearful. So because you're fearful, you're wanting to control that fear.
Exactly. So when you feel yourself react, stop yourself and say, okay, high likelihood I'm in distortion because I'm reacting to something that I don't have all the information around. So I'm going to say, okay, well, who is this person? Where were you? What was said? What was done?
So you're getting curious. Curiosity is a principle of truth.
There you go. It's principle of truth. And I have to also make sure that the person across from me, my son, is also living in truth, because it's really easy to not be in truth when you have been hurt and you want to accentuate what.
This one, I feel like they're like riffing. Like they don't even know what they're saying. Like, okay, your kid got bullied. They're telling you about it. And I'm not going to react, though. It's like, okay, so what are you going to do? Well, maybe you take them out of the class, and that's fine. It's like, okay, but in what circumstances? We're not going to get to it. We're not going to talk about that. Like, what? Confused.
Whatever happened. Like, you don't tell the reality of what happened. So as I ask my son questions, I'm going to say, now, is this accurate? Is this factual? And they may say, are you kidding? I just was hurt by this kid, and you want to know the facts? Well, yes, I do want to know the facts because I want to be accurate about how.
Do you have 4 eyes ago, child? Well, are you a loser? I just need to know the facts. We need to know if these are true statements or not.
How to proceed. I want to stay in truth, and I'm inviting you to stay in truth.
So what you're doing right here is you're assessing for truth.
No one can bully my kids but me, what they're saying.
Yes.
You're assessing and looking for truth instead of, what do I do?
Yeah, how do I react? How can I just make you feel comfortable? Somebody hurt my child, so I'm going to make sure somebody pays. That is not a wise or principled way to go about something. It's definitely not living in truth. So the whole point is for you to see the characteristics in distortion so that you start recognizing them. So reaction's a principle of distortion. And these are all control. So remember, perception, emotion, behavior, and then the behavior will act out in a controlling way. And then there's all these different ways to control. So here they are. I can act entitled. I can act in a place of blame.
Yeah, you can be really angry.
I can be vindictive. I can be, now here's one that's going to throw you. You ready? Because all those that we just mentioned are bad, quote unquote. They're not bad. They're just actions of distortion. They're actions of control. Here's one that will not sound like an action of control, but it is. I can people please.
Isn't that a peacemaker though?
Yeah.
Isn't that good to be a
I
peacemaker?
thought that was a good one.
That isn't peacemaker and wanting people to be happy in parenting and truth?
No.
No. You don't want your kids to be happy. You don't want peace in your household. You want a full out war all day. That's the only way to parent.
The very nature of me saying I'm going to please you, I'm going to people please, means I'm going to insert whatever I want to insert and do everything I possibly can do to quote unquote make you pleased.
Well, and you're also setting up the child to believe that mom can come in and manage your life for you. And you don't want to be setting your child up. Yeah, that life should be pleasing.
Please me. Please me. Please.
That life should be pleasing. We should not think that life should be pleasing. That's a lot wrapped up in that statement. That is, I think, the core distortion in her mind, that life is not meant to be pleasing. Not happy and all the time joyous. No, but pleasing, I think it should be. That should be the goal at the very least. That shows that, oh, well, my kids don't deserve to be happy. Let's take a break from this one. This one's kind of weird and not boring, but it is sort of boring. There was one that was like, do my kids deserve privacy? And I watched it, not the whole thing, but I watched clips. I was like, oh my God. But I don't know which one it was. Mommy guilt. No, it wasn't that one. Am I controlling mom? We already watched that. Let's watch a couple short ones. Let's, because that one was getting long and a little bit, I don't know. They're not like giving us any sort of like what are we talking about? What, like, is it a bullying situation? What's the actual context here? Okay. Breaking down Will Smith's control. Okay. Woke is not awake. Okay. Where was that one that we had that we looked at and it was like, was it this one? With all the short videos? No. Was it this one? No. Was it the school system one? No. She's always crying in the car when it's about the school system. This one, Mom? Yes. Okay. Let's see. Oh, protecting your child from abusive partner. Why are you angry? Let's see. Why are you angry?
Where does anger come from? Do you know someone who is angry constantly?
You.
Maybe it's you.
Yeah.
How is anger created? What is it? Anger is coming from a base of dishonesty, irresponsibility, and pride. Somewhere with the person who is angry, somewhere in their life, they are choosing irresponsibility, dishonesty, and pride.
So basically, if her children are angry about them being abused and the treatment they received, they're dishonest and irresponsible and prideful. Not that they have reason to be angry. Okay, got it.
Or a lack of willing to be humble. Anger comes from living in a place of victim, where I'm not responsible for the things going on around me. Life should be easier. Life should be better to me. I don't deserve any of this. So they're not willing to be vulnerable, and they live in a state of drama where they are blaming things, circumstances, places.
Anger comes from living in a place of victim. Okay. Yeah, let's watch the 8 why she left. I'm curious about that
like
too.
This.
Honestly. This is why I left 8 passengers, and it says your child needs principles, not opinions. And this is a little shorter one. This is a good one to end on. It says I was a disconnected parent for many years. Learning to be honest, responsible, and humble changed my life. When you learn to live by the principles of truth, you and your loved ones can experience true connection. Okay, let's do it. Again, the music does not match what is talked about in these videos.
And I'm Ruby Franke.
So we first want to thank you. We are so grateful and touched.
Yeah.
You know, we go to the Facebook page and it's like, oh, look, we have this many more people that joined. We're so excited that you're with us. And we have this image and this desire to have an army of mothers and fathers, men and women, teens alike, moving forward throughout this planet and learning how to live principles of truth so that they actually have this beautiful outcome of connection. So we know that that's why you're here and you're coming and saying, help me understand principles of truth. Something that we have noticed, though, is that there's a lot of opinions being given and there's a lot of advice that's being given. And I've said to Ruby numerous times, and I thought on my own, like, wow, I don't think that that's what it is that we're doing here. We're not interested in giving our opinion. We're not.
What are you doing right now, bitch? We're not interested in giving our opinion as I give my opinion for 400 videos about what you should do with your child. This is not a truth. This is your opinion, you psycho. Oh my God. And also, didn't they say in the other video, they're like, they're going to validate you. We're in this mothers group. They're going to tell you that you're awesome and that you're great and that they understand you. They're going to show you the truth. Okay, so they're showing them the truth of their own understanding. They're like, no, that's not what this is for. This is for our indoctrination, our truth, not our members' truth.
Giving opinions. We're actually interested in helping you understand principles of truth so that you can govern your life from a base of being honest, responsible, and humble. So please hear, we want you to be here. We want you to then be thoughtful about what you think is going on. And instead of just reacting to the statements that are made or the questions that are asked, we are interested in when you feel triggered, because many of you have been triggered, and we know that because of your responses that you're giving. And you'll even say, this is my opinion, this is my perspective. And of course, that's what we do. We give those kind of things. And we're inviting you to see something else. We're inviting you to, instead of giving an opinion and a perspective, we're inviting you to learn principles of truth so that you can offer.
What's the point of a Facebook group if you're not supposed to give your own opinion about things and your perception of things? No, we don't want you to actually interact with each other. We want you to be indoctrinated with our doctrine, dummies. We're going to turn the comments off. We don't want to hear from you. We just want you to consume our content. God.
Offer that to another person.
Yeah, this is why there's so much confusion in the world. You go to other Facebook mom pages and you see questions that are people, mothers, you in pain saying, I've got this situation going on, please help. And then you read the comments and there's hundreds of opinions and you should do this, you should do that. And it's confusing. All of these voices coming from different backgrounds, different motives, different agendas, different scenarios from their history that are being projected onto this other person's experience that isn't necessary. And so what makes our Facebook page different, or this is where our motive and agenda is, and we...
What a bizarre thing. We have a community, but we don't want you to speak or have any opinions about what we're doing. That's healthy. That's definitely not a cult, for sure. That is not how cults work. Just kidding. That's exactly how cults work.
I don't know anything more cultish than that.
I agree. How do you spell cult, though? I'm confused.
This spells cult, C-U-L-T.
Oh, okay. Thank you, medical medium. JLB Nerdy, thank you so much. JLB Nerdy says, watched from 30 minutes in, haven't heard the truth. Well, good luck, because you ain't going to hear it now. You ain't going to hear it, because the truth does not exist, apparently. The truth is whatever Jodi and Ruby have to say at any given moment, and that may contradict video to video, but don't question them because you're not allowed to. That sounds fair, right? That's cool. Awesome. What is this?
We're talking about something awful, terrible, the unimaginable.
Here's what I feel when watching these videos.
It reminds me of something from the war.
Thank you, JLB Nerdy. I appreciate it. All right, here we go.
Probably should have been more clear about that. We don't know what we're doing.
Sorry, we're learning with you, so thank you for being patient with us.
We're figuring this out, and we named it Moms and Truth because our motive and our agenda is to squelch the confusion,
money.
not by saying you need to do this, but by saying here's where the honesty is, here's where the responsibility lies, and here's what showing up humble in this situation would look like. And then you choose to do what you think is best. That's where you, who are making the decision, get to bring in your opinion and using the principles of truth offered. So the invitation is, and the hope is that all of the moms that come here learn how and practice plugging in principles of truth into these different circumstances.
Yes. So the core principles of truth are about learning how to be honest, learning how to be responsible. Responsible for what? Your own perceptions, your own feelings, your own actions. So perception comes first, then you have an emotional response to a perception, like you're creating that.
Why did you leave 8 passengers? That's what I need to know. Skipping this part. We already heard this part.
And then you take your perception and responsible for what you're perceiving. And we're asking you to be responsible for what you're feeling.
Oh my God.
And we're truth in your question, in your statements. You will say,
is that book upside down? Oh no, okay.
Help me understand. You will say, I used to do this and now I can see truth. Anyone who is actually practicing living principles of truth does not attack, does not get defensive, does not blame, does not say, well, sin is sin, it's okay. They don't do those things. And so if you hear in your mind that you're getting reactionary and you want to come at one of us or at someone else who has made a comment in the Facebook page and you feel like that's wrong,
don't do it, because we'll kick you out. We cannot handle any criticism, and we are perfect and we are godlike and you are not. So shut up and consume our content again.
And you're upset and you want to tell them how wrong they are, you are in classic distortion. And that is what we're inviting you to actually see.
She's like, Jodi and Ruby are like, our opinion is that you should duct tape your kids and abuse them. And people are like, I don't agree with that. And they're like, you're a distortion, baby. This is not okay. It's like, okay, the police have other opinions.
See? And to humble and change.
I have an example of a curious question that came in. So I had answered someone's question about this mother had a 17-year-old who didn't want to go to church any longer, and I made a video response. And in it, I had made a reference to The Walking Dead. Now, I've been in social media for many years, and I have been a mother in distortion more years than I've been a mother in truth. This is new. I've been studying this for 4 years, and so I've got video footage of me being in distortion for years before that.
You see how humble that is? That's humble. She's telling you, I was in distortion. I was harming my kids.
So
I was
humble.
I was
selfish.
being super neglectful in the area that I
wasn't. This to me sounds like now she thinks abusing your kids is the truth, because she's getting this information from this like cult leader woman wannabe, and everything needs to be punished. Okay, so she maybe didn't punish as much before, and now she needs to punish even more severely to teach them the truth or something. I don't know. It seems weird. Like, she's like, I was neglectful. Now I'm like up their ass and like punishing them constantly as opposed to neglecting them. Like, oh, good, great. That doesn't sound good either way. Stephanie Hell. Thank you so much. Stephanie Hell says, is the orange vest some kind of safety measure? Yeah, she's going to go on a skeet shoot after this video. She's just got to wrap this up real quick. Just tell people how to parent their kids. And then she's about to go shoot some skates outside in the country in Utah. Yeah, that sounds good. She's gonna go hang out with Dick Cheney's friend and see what happens. Play a little roulette out in the woods there. I don't know. I'm just going off. I don't know what I'm saying. Okay. What do you have to say, medical medium?
As you laugh while you're getting ready for bed, instead of praying to God, you're praying, I'm dead.
Thank you for that poem. What else? What else do you have to say? Anybody have anything to say?
Nothing.
Are you sure? Ed, what do you have to say? You always have something to say.
I like winning more than I like sitting on the beach.
Okay, that makes one of us. Thanks, Stephanie Hill. All right, back to it. We're getting there. Oops.
Wasn't bringing truth into my home. And she said, I'm being genuinely curious. You said you made mention of The Walking Dead not being appropriate, but yet I saw you had a video where your son liked The Walking Dead. And so I understood. I know. Ouch.
Good job, Mom, for pointing that out to her.
Yeah, and it felt very genuine. The curiosity was there. And so I responded. I said, thank you so much. You're actually helping me. You're shedding a light on this distorted, disconnected parenting that I used to go into. Me allowing my child to watch The Walking Dead was me being selfish because I didn't want to ruffle the distortion inside of my child, which meant I knew if I said no, he was going to get mad, and I just, I don't want to deal with the kids being mad. That's my selfishness. And I didn't get curious about what was in the show. I didn't ever sit down and watch it. Years later, my littles who were even littler at the time, they were just little. Oh, it breaks my heart.
They can't watch The Walking Dead, but they can wake themselves up in the morning and cook food for themselves for breakfast and also pack their own lunch. But they can't handle a show about zombies, I guess. I haven't watched it, to be fair, so I have no idea if it's appropriate or not. But, it seems like you give your kids a lot of responsibility, but then give them no freedom to do anything fun. I don't know.
They're telling me all the things that they saw in this show. There was pornography. There was extreme violence. There was killing. There was murder. And they have been bothered for years. And they've never felt comfortable to come tell me about it. Why? Because I was such a disconnected mother. So not only did it hurt the older son who was watching this show, it hurt the little ones, and I didn't know about it. It's been rotting in their system for years.
Okay, that's one explanation, I suppose. Or it could be that they're facing abuse in the house, and that's why they're disturbed also, given this information that's come out thus far. I don't know. It seems like people like this that they focus on the wrong thing. If I only don't let my kid watch The Walking Dead, then they'll be fine. But I'm also going to chain them up to, their bed or whatever. It's okay, that's the thing you should probably care about more. If they're, celebrating Christmas with the rest of the family, or they're being, ostracized and excluded on purpose just to be rude to them. That seems a little bit more impactful than watching The Walking Dead or not.
And now it's fine.
But we're going to focus on that and hyperfixate on that because for no reason.
Finally coming to the surface. And so my job is to stay humble. My job is to see where my responsibility lies, and which is to clean up. I need to repent for being so selfish. I need to go in and say, this was my responsibility. I did not protect you. I allowed this to come into our home. I can see clearly that you've been in fear for many years. You've had nightmares. You've had thoughts. And
you had thoughts.
I was not there to protect you, and I should have been. And so now I go in and do that cleanup. And that's what we're inviting you to do. That was my motivating drive. It is my motivating drive for creating this content. I was a hugely disconnected, selfish, aggressive, neglectful mother.
Entitled.
I wanted my kids to be happy, which AKA translated into, I want my kids to get off my back because I want to do what I want to do. I want to be able to go to Target. I want to be able to shop. I want to be able to have a moment of silence where I can just think. It was all about me. And I made my kids responsible for that. And so I allowed them to have what they wanted. A lot of these disconnected comments that are coming in are all about
I don't know how to feel about this because she's had issues for years and years. But now it's it seems to have risen to a level of pretty bad abuse, pretty overt abuse. Not that the other stuff isn't abuse too, but it's risen. It's gone, like she said, the deep end of the pool. It's a gradual climb. Okay, I think the same thing is true about what she's done. So it seems like it's gotten worse and worse as the years have gone on. She was documenting all this on the YouTube channel. Now she's gotten rid of the YouTube channel, and now it seems to have gotten more nefarious behind the scenes. And I don't know how to feel. Is this her? It seems like maybe this is Jodi's influence at the very least. No, your neglectfulness was bad. I think it was bad parenting previously, but maybe now it's kicked it up a notch because she's got this weird opinion about how to raise kids, and it's turned into a worse abuse, perhaps. I'm not saying it's her fault completely, because it's Ruby's responsibility, actually, to not listen to someone who tells you to abuse your kids. But I don't know, it's a complicated thing, because like, okay, I can appreciate she sees that she did wrong, but obviously what she's done now is just as bad, if not worse. So what growth have you really done? It's just a different form of abuse. And it seems like her way of thinking about this is like, oh, I wanted them to be happy, so therefore that was my bad. Now I don't want them to be happy at all. Like, oh, okay, well, you're making sure that's true.
They're coming from this perception that loving my child means letting them have what they want.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a phase. The outcomes are just a phase, and that will dissipate. And the truth is, loving your child is holding them accountable. Loving your child is expecting them to show up humble. Loving your child is expecting honesty. And when those don't happen, you reflect and hold them accountable.
Right. Did you hear all those principles that she just completely owned? She said, I did all of these things that were really destructive from a place of selfishness. And then she said, I'm repenting, and I've repented. I am open. I am curious. I can say anything I want to her, and she hears it. Like, I don't tiptoe around her at all. And she can say whatever she wants to me, and I don't get offended, because both of us understand truthful principles. We know that there's love between us. We know that we both have the same motive, which is to stay in truth individually. And when one of us is in distortion, and I go into everything she just said about her parenting, that's me too. And it's you too. And it doesn't mean bad on you or bad on me. It just means that we don't know where truth is. We're doing the best, quote unquote, that we know how. And we're inviting you to stop doing your best and start living in truth. This isn't about good, better, best. It's about there's truth and there's distortion. That's it. Truth
we
and
don't
distortion.
know what truth is.
And once I started realizing about truth and I started learning about distortion, oh my gosh, major overhaul in my life around be humble, be responsible, be honest. And if you and I were sitting across from each other, I would have no problem giving you a laundry list of all the things that I did that was in distortion and injured my children. And I used to tell my kids, you know what? I'm giving you the best I know how. This is when I was in distortion, because I didn't know about truth. I didn't know about distortion. And I would say, I'm doing the best I know how, and I'm sure I'm screwing you up. I'm sure I'm doing something that's injuring you. And one day you're going to yank me into some therapy appointment and tell me all the things I did that screwed up your life.
Yeah.
And I said, and I will be there, and I will own everything that I've done. And I expect you to own your perception of what I did, because my motive is never to hurt you.
It doesn't matter. We've learned that already on this channel about self-help, is that your intention does not matter at all of the outcome. You can intend to say something profound and say something completely harmful and hurtful to people, and it doesn't matter that your intention was good. I'm glad your intention was good, but it doesn't change the fact that it could hurt someone, or the advice is horrible, that they, leads people to die as a result, as we've seen with like the medical medium, for example, or with Rachel Hollis's Toiletgate. Like, a lot of people were offended by her speech. Someone died in the medical medium's case. It doesn't matter. Like, you intended to help people. It's like, if you're not qualified, or you aren't, coming from a place where you know what you're talking about, it's like you're just giving advice to the wind and hoping it sticks, and sometimes it doesn't. It's like, take responsibility for that. And these people are like, I take responsibility for what I did, but I only did it for the right reasons, so I shouldn't be judged for it. You should judge yourself for how you perceive my great intentions. It's like, wow, you really are innocent no matter what anyone does. You're innocent no matter what. You're innocent until proven nothing in this world, but that is not the world they are currently living in any longer. They are now in a innocent until proven guilty world, which I appreciate much more.
It's never been my motive to hurt you. It's been my motive to love you, but I did not know how to love you because I didn't understand about principles of truth. I did exactly what Ruby
The sad music, oh my God. And to a degree, I do believe her when and I believe people who say this generally were like, I didn't mean to hurt you, but it's all I could do at the time. Like, I do believe that in some way they believed that. However, I don't think that's enough to go, well, okay, of course. Like, you thought that was the way to do it? Like, to abuse your kids and put them in handcuffs? Like, yeah, well, you didn't know. It's like, no, there is a basis of understanding where you should know by now as a responsible adult that's not the way to treat another human being. It's very obvious. You didn't grow up under a rock. You know that, that is a crime. So I find it to be, I do believe people believe they did the best, but I think that that's the wrong mentality and it's still not okay.
He was doing, trying to love my kids by letting them have their way, letting them do what they want, telling myself that they'll grow out of it, telling myself that this isn't that big of a deal when it's a huge deal. They're sitting over here lying and hiding and being selfish and entitled. It's a huge deal.
Stop complaining, Karen.
And I told myself all those things like, no, they'll be mad at me, so I'm not gonna rock the boat. This is just, they're just curious. Somebody said in a post, like, exploring their sexuality at 12 is reasonable. It's like, what? Why in the world is a 12-year-old exploring their sexuality? They're supposed to be out playing with animals and little girls and going to school learning about, science and math. Mm-hmm. Not exploring their sexuality.
Mm-hmm. Babysitting.
Yes.
Walking the dog.
So
babysitting at 12, I don't think you should be doing that either, to be honest. I think that's a little young. I think you should be babysat, perhaps. Why are we yelling? Like, what are we talking about? Who are we talking about? Can we get some context for these explosions of feelings that are totally justified in this case, and everyone else who has this reaction would be, told to stop living in this distortion? But for her, it's fine. It's because she's teaching us how to live better, so it's okay.
Understanding that love equates to truth. When you finally get that, you will then start desperately loving your children. And we will turn this world around. If the mothers of the world got together and understood truth, and were like locked arms, like this, nothing's getting through us. Yeah. See those kids behind us? You got to get through us to get to them. We have
yeah, that's what they do when the police came to arrest them. They're like, no, we are parenting our children the best. It's like, well, one of them escaped through your, house to seek help. What about that? Well, they did get through this, but that's okay. It's like, this is so bizarre a world.
2 billion people together of women? Holy smokes.
And so when you come in and you say, well, it's just my opinion, or not to be rude, but, and then not to be rude, but gives you permission to say whatever you want, those are chinks in this bold wall that we are wanting to create.
Ladies, don't have opinions. Our opinions are fine. Your opinions are not. Those are chinks in the armor of our opinions. So stop it. We want to build a community of silent warriors that follow blindly into the light. And you can follow us straight to jail.
Where mothers are powerful, where we get together and we hold the line. We hold the line. When you're at war, you want the people on the front line to be strong, not like, well, let them do what they want. We need to be strong mothers because we are on the front lines. That is where you are. You are in the trenches.
Right.
And we're in the trenches with you. So do not relinquish truth because you want to be liked or because you think this is a phase. It's not. This is life. We're at war. This isn't a phase. People are being wounded. My children were wounded. They were hurt. Their souls were killed. The stuff that I allowed into my home killed their spirits. And it has taken a whole, I have been full time. You wonder where I've been on my vlogs? You wonder why I left YouTube? It's to save my kids. No amount of money. And I'm telling you, I was making millions. And I left it because my kids were...
I left it. I left my millions. You guys should pity me that I left it after making millions. I left it to join this cult with this lady next to me who's definitely in her right state of mind. Yikes.
They were being hurt. With entitlement, they were being hurt. With people's advice, and they didn't have a mother up the front saying, I don't care what the world's opinion is. This is the truth, and this is where I stand. And fortunately, I had a chance. I had them in my home long enough to do it, and I'm not going to lose them. They're seeing truth, they're accepting truth, they're loving truth.
It seemed like the two that are of legal age to leave left and no longer speak to her. So that sounds a little bit like YouTube caused my children to leave me. It's like, no, I think you're responsible for that. Be humble about that. I made millions. For some reason that bothers me the most. Like out of these conversations, the abuse bothers me the most, but like in these self-help things, they always throw that in there. Like, I made so much money and I decided it was not good for me. It's like, yeah, you already have the money though. So you already are out of debt. You already have like invested that money that is now apparently not good enough for you. Okay. So now you're going to go do your life. Yeah. That's how it works. Once you have money, it's not as hard to like make more money. That's obvious. So I'm not going to feel pity for you that you're no longer, exploiting your children every single day. But the vlogs are on there. Well, at this time, I would assume they were still on there for years to be used and abused by whoever. So I have no like sympathy. Like, oh, you've left YouTube. You haven't updated your vlog. How precious, how sad that is for you. Oh my gosh, you deserve millions. You deserve millions for what? Living your life? Abusing your children? Shut up. Like, it's so outrageous.
And so this is my passion, is to invite you to stand in truth and
But don't give your opinions in the Facebook group. We are so passionate about this Facebook group, but don't also interact there at all.
Your opinions to the side for a minute, because your kids are the target of distortion.
We need you. We love you. We know what power exists inside you, and we want you to be here. So please humble yourself. Become curious about what we're saying. If you start getting reactionary, stop yourself and say, stop. Jennifer, stop. Rachel, stop. What are they trying to say to me? What am I not hearing? Why am I want to fight them?
Who are you talking to?
That's your distortion. That's what comes up in me. Anytime I want to fight someone, I'm like, stop, Jodi, stop. Why am I getting so reactionary here? Like, there's no threat here. There's no threat. What's going on? The threat that I say is not here, the real threat is inside me that says, attack them. Attack them. How dare they say that? They can't say that. They're wrong for saying that. Don't attack us. Don't attack yourself. Attack distortion. Distortion is this thing that's trying to drag you down and kill you and kill your children. We are here to help you see it.
The only people even close to being able to kill your children are you, and you are getting too close for comfort, and that's why you're both behind bars.
Desperately desiring to help you see it. We're putting ourselves out into a worldwide audience because both of us are committed to God, and we're both committed to the principles that God stands for. And we'll take...
On the website, it says this is not faith-based at all. It has nothing to do with anything faith-based. Okay, we're here for God. We're God's army. That's why we're here spreading this false gospel.
The arrows of distortion to help share with anyone, even if it's one person that can hear us. We're here. So please don't leave. Just humble yourself and get curious. Am I in distortion?
Humble yourself and stop commenting mean things to me on my photos. On this private Facebook group that's supposed to be the big draw here. Lord. Awkward. I think that was a very interesting one to leave on. Stephanie Hell, thank you so much. Once again, thank you, Stephanie Hell. Stephanie Hell says, spare thought for the skeet shooter putting a hand on your knee. Oh, say, can you shoot by the dawns of the skeet? Am I gonna be canceled? Is that against the? It's like that. Is that like defacing the flag if you sing the national anthem with different words? You can't deface the song of America. The true song of America is American Woman, stay away from me. We should change that. I vote to change. That's my truth. That is the national anthem, actually. What do you have to say about that, everybody?
No.
Okay, fine. But I want it to be that.
It's okay to cry.
Thank you, Heidi. Thank you so much. Also, this is very important for everyone to know. That made about as much sense as all these videos combined. Thank you, Stephanie. I honor you for that. Oh boy. Okay, well, that it does seem like we're talking about slippery slopes and like board game anger to prison pipeline. Yeah, we should also talk about the life coaching videos about parenting to Lori Vallow murder pipeline vibes. God, that was hard to get through. Sorry. You know what I'm trying to say. These people are destined for a death cult. At this is stage 1. This is the shallow end of the pool, to use Ruby's example. And then you go in the deep end, and then you're like, okay, everyone, this is the night. We're about to ascend. And you're like, okay, I'm in deep now. So I'm sorry. I apologize if my I don't know, maybe more my laughter and I don't know. This take has been a little bit not in line with like, okay, how serious this is. It is serious accusations. I feel horrible for the children. However, I think, that's been done and said, and it's obvious in my mind. It's like, let's look at some of this other offbeat shit, because it is humorous of how stupid it is. So I apologize if it ever came off offensive, but that's not my intention, so you can't blame me, okay? I didn't intend to it, so you have no opinion about the matter, or else you're bullying me. And I will take you out of class for that, because Ruby said that's fine. All right, let's go back to the main screen here, hey? To my office. It's definitely real. Don't question it. I wanted to say, I have this, it's probably going to go invisible, Under the Influence book by Noelle Crooks. Okay, I read it. I have consumed it. I have notes on it. Excuse me. I'm going to do an edited review so that I can get all my thoughts and not be all over the place, and talk about like who I think the characters are based on, what I think Noelle Crooks' writing style is like, what I think about her like pitching this book and marketing this book, and if I like her or not, or if she reminds me of Rachel, and like, I don't know, it's interesting. There's a lot of mixed feelings about it. So I think that's best served in a edited book. Or edited video. So I'll be working on that this week. And then I'm about to start to read this book. This is what I just opened. This is a woman's quest to find out if self-help really can change your life. And I think she found the answer was no. So I'm excited to read this. I don't know if I'll ever do a review about it or not, but I will be reading that also, in case you're wondering. What else am I reading? What else is she reading these days? And then from there, yeah, that's it. That's all I have to say. If you'd like to join the membership and get access to emotes and things, we need to get this emote game up. I feel like I haven't seen as many emotes lately. I feel very in distortion about that. And we need more emotes and more fun and more sound bites. And I'll cut some sound bites from this episode, because I think there was a lot. Anyways, I don't know when I'll come live again. Probably next week, and we'll figure out the topic and we'll go from there. So on this note, I'm now gonna sing our members of the Pancake Breakfast Club membership program, and we're gonna have a great grand old time. It was great to see you. Toodaloo. If I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Okay, time to eat something and relax. Okay, bye. Since I didn't pull a new song, we gotta find one. Nope. this is all right. This will do. I guess so. We're choosing distortion. My favorite word. It means nothing like everything else in this self-help world. This has lyrics already? That's not gonna work. Okay, back to this one. We're gonna take it slow. You don't have anywhere to go. Starry nights. You're here every 12 hours a day. Because that's the way that God intended, and don't question it or else you'll be smited immediately. Nicole Campbell. She likes to gamble. That's also against the rules. Unless someone who is leading the cult does it, then it's fine. Then it's a test. Then it's okay. Then it's God's will, okay? Don't question once again. Heather DeMayo. Heather DeMayo. Heather De Miracle Whip. I'm glad to have you here. I'm glad to have you here. And I'd like to see your quips. That rhymed with Miracle Whip. Whip, snip, tip. Here's a tip for Tiffany. Don't let your kids watch The Walking Dead, or they will be destroyed for life. It's an important tip for you to internalize. Chills Marie, what do you have to say to me? Nothing, says Dave Ramsey. I told you that's what he said. Also, just the middle of the song announcement, Zelda is going to be readopted by this channel this year, so that is coming up soon. I forgot to mention that. Thanks, Rainy Cannon, for mentioning that for me and reminding me that Zelda is a manatee that deserves all the praise and attention he can get. Oh, I bet. He's never been on our channel before. Actually, it might be a she. Zelda is a female. I think it is a female. I'm sorry. I always think of Zelda as a man, but it's not. It's not. Bloodbath Body Works knows that manatees can be male or female. And the name Zelda can be confusing because Zelda is a female name and Link is actually a male. Does that make sense? Link is not the namesake of the game, but the character you always see when they put the word Zelda up is confusing, right? Alaska Blatundra is like, what are you talking about? And I don't blame you. Did I also tell you that Taro's first name was Link? But she's a girl, at least I think. And Crystal G, what do you have to say to me if I told you that Tara was roaming free around the house? 'Cause I haven't seen a mouse, and she hasn't come to jump on my desk. That is so sad. My desk is a mess though, a little bit, so maybe she's intimidated by it. And Lisa B. That's how your name is spelled. That's really cool of you. E. How many E's can you fit in the sentence? Sentence of your name. At least 7 in your case. That's a lot. That reminds me of the 7 deadly sins. I'll pray for you about it. And Joms, you are so cool. Joms makes everyone else drool. That's how I say the truth and the destiny of the world is based on that statement. And you rule. Sing your trumpet, use your trumpet to tell the world kids now make it a self-help video where just words fit together, but they don't actually mean anything. But it might sound good because maybe you weren't paying attention for a minute and you thought like, well, I guess that makes sense. I just wasn't listening. It's my own fault. Blame my fault. Blame myself for not understanding psychobabble and unnecessary advice. A console says, yeah, that's real nice. I love advice that is unuseful. Lindsay Walden says, the best advice I ever received was, try hard. Gee, thanks. As if I wasn't doing that already, but I guess you telling me will just make me continue to do the same thing I've already done. So I guess the advice was okay. Hey, Carasoto. Is your favorite movie The Notebook? I watched The Notebook recently, and it was good. And I watched The Wedding Singer last night. As a matter of fact, I'm watching romance movies for some reason. Heather Hope says, romance movies are my favorite, and I've never seen one I don't like. But then you get sick of it. They're all the same. Meet cute, conflict, resolution. They kiss and make up at the end, and then you're stuck with thinking, I wonder if they would make it. Or would they break up in a year because the excitement was over? Not Jenna Cash says, I don't know, who cares? These are fictional characters. And I say, come on, fictional characters are sometimes more interesting than real characters because real characters in life are lying to you to make it more consumable for you. So you actually don't know them. You can actually give more depth sometimes to a fictional character. And Jenna Cash is like, I said that? And I was like, yeah, you said that. You were dreaming, I think. You were in sleep paralysis. You said all that. She was like, wow, that was pretty astute. El Cholo's kid's like, yeah, that wasn't actually that astute, though. It was just a statement you were making. It's just a bunch of words put together in a sentence. Lots of people do that every day. Just because you have a microphone and a camera doesn't mean that yours is better. Anyway. In any way, either. It's really just a thought that came to your mind and you vocalized it with your mouth. And maybe you were an MLM leader, so now people hear you and think it's valuable. But guess what? Chances are it ain't. And Anne says, amen. I always think that. I just want to live without being bombarded by people telling me what to do and what illness I have, because I have a quirk that probably everybody has. I just want to look at dog videos without all that crap. Amen again. The Velvet Finch. I almost did it again where I read the elf. I think you should change your name to the Elf Finch. Someone look up if the Elf Finch is available on YouTube. Because if it is, I've already said it twice or maybe 3 times. And if that's an easier word to read, then hey, change your identity for me. That sounds fair. And I think that you should do that. Just please the cult leader, which in this case would be me, because I run this channel. I guess I would be indoctrinating you. Do-dee-doo-dee-doo. Do what I do. Be like me, but I don't follow my own advice. But don't be alarmed at that. Has nothing to do with anything. Just forget about it. And Kimberly Harris smiles. Thank you for being here and watching. It's really always shocking that everyone here shows up and does the work together. I love it. It's really cool. It really rules. And I appreciate it. Everyone put a pancake on the pan tonight in honor of this channel. Every time you see a pancake, think of me. Every time you see a waffle, think of someone else that you don't like, so that pancakes over time become more appealing to you, and then you have more of an affinity for this channel. Thank you. That's my psycho tip of the day. Good night, everybody, and talk to you later. Bye.